This podcast is brought to you by JList.com. There are all new Japanese snacks available over at jlistandjbox.com. Check out these titles that you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. Morinaga Premium Sweet Potato Caramel. Morinaga Premium High Chew Double Melon Flavor. That's double melon. Fujiya Roasted Green Tea Milky Candy. Crazy Neru Ne Cola Flavor. Petite Seaweed Cheese Snacks. And of course, who could forget Mitsuki's favorite, the Glico Colon Cream Milk Flavor. So, the most unfortunate name for a snack ever. The variety of snacks on JList and jbox.com is just giant. There's an unbelievable selection. Head over there and you can enjoy all sorts of wild and fun snacks that you've never tried before. Honestly, at a very cheap price. A lot of them are like $1 or $2 a piece. With the help of jbox.com, you'll be eating your Japanese snacks while you watch anime just like you would if you lived in Japan. So head over to jlist or jbox.com right now and browse our selection of Japanese snacks. And now, time to start the podcast.
来てくれてありがとう You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at aaapodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
And coming in with energy this week. Hello everyone, my name is Mason and I will be your captain today as we take to the skies for episode 530 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast, where me and my crewmates have gathered here today, all aboard to make your anime addiction so much worse. Running the audio with a luscious monster, we have the ever stalwart Mitsuki. How's it going?
I'm making out with it.
You're getting saucy with it.
So good. I'm addicted to more than just anime. I'm pretty sure I'm addicted to caffeine too, because this is now my second monster today. Woo! Let's fucking do it!
Get that sponsorship going. Also, crafting the visuals and granted with the gift of foresight.
Right.
We have Mandi over there.
Hi. I don't have a monster, but I am joined by a Mr. Hiei today.
Ooh.
Look at him. Ain't he
like,
cool as shit? Look at that.
I don't know. I was thinking sexy as fuck, but...
There's an attachment you could change his arm where it's like a tattoo, and then one with his tattoo coming off with the dragon. He's fucking cool, isn't he?
If that dragon doesn't light up, he's got nothing on his stuff.
He's got nothing on that
No,
dick light.
no dick light?
It's in a cabinet.
And finally, providing the heart, the swagger, and vibes of the podcast, but whose elusivity was insurmountable this week. We are without Enzo. Sorry, everyone. He is out doing his thing, but hopefully next week we will get him back. So RIP in the chat. Reminder that you can check us out on aapodcast.com, where we record more than just this episode. We have hentai episodes, Hobby Addicts, where Mitch just talked about the gym. I just talked about books. Boring, I know. But
boring.
Mandy stayed today and talked about some excellent video games. So make sure, if you want to support us and get more content, check that out, including after parties and all that good stuff.
Mandy is always carrying Hobby Addicts. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
It's literally, I mean, it is. It's what it is.
I'm usually playing like 15 games at a time.
Additionally, all four of us you can find on Twitter, including most importantly the AA podcast account, to get up to date on all things. You can watch us live Sundays 5 p.m. EDT on Twitch, find us on Facebook, and most importantly, hang out with us on Discord, where we have so much going on. You just go to our website, aaapodcast.com. There's so much there. You can see all of our old episodes. You can see the polls. You can see the trivia questions. You can see our schedule. You can have so much stuff. But at the very top, there's a join our Discord button, and you just click it. It's very easy. I highly recommend everyone do it to hang out, where we will be watching either July 10th or the 24th. We need to come up with a final date. We will be watching the Lone Wolf and Cub movie as a group. Big old watch party at 10 p.m. EDT. We'll have an announcement on how we're going to do it, when it is exactly. And one of our listeners suggested we do a drinking game, or what I'm more feeling, a keyword bingo, where no one has seen this movie, but we will make up what we think will happen and have a game that we play bingo along with. And I think that will be a a grand addition to the tomfoolery that will ensue. So if you want to get on that, details in the Discord to come. Additionally, we have Anime Club, where we all watch a show, meet up, and discuss it. This time we're going to be discussing Aka 13 on July 1st at 10 p.m. EDT. So please watch it and hang out with us and be my friend.
I'm making a note here on my phone. I think maybe I'll show up to this Lone Wolf and Cub on the 10th / the 24th, especially if there's a drinking game going on. Because you know what? Why the fuck not? I mean, I'm not usually doing much on a Wednesday night. Let's go.
Friday.
I think that's a Friday, my dude.
I'm looking at the wrong calendar day. I'm looking
Anime
at June.
Club. Oh, yeah. This is all July stuff, my friend.
I am sad now.
But you should still come. A Friday night
I
drinking?
will.
That's a cool thing. Cool.
You know what? Might as well do it. Fuck.
As far as I know, I think I can do both those days. I don't have anything planned, but
right now,
except next weekend.
Yeah, right now the poll is still open, and those 2 days are tied. So we'll give you an update next week for sure. So
sounds
good. What's the Manga Club doing?
Yeah, so Manga Club will be back on July 8th, and we will be reading all of Planetes.
Oh my God.
I have them all. I just forgot to bring them up to my desk. They're on my shelf. I apologize. But yeah, it is... I think in Japan it released in 4 volumes, but in English they came out in 2 big omnibus volumes. And we decided, you know what, let's just read the whole thing because it's not... there's not a whole lot to read. I think it'll go by really fast. So if it sounds intimidating, I promise it's probably not as bad as it sounds. But yeah, all you gotta do is read all of that and come to the Discord on July 8th at 10 p.m. EDT and jump into the Manga Club chat, and we will just have a relaxing chat about this manga. And you don't even have to talk if you don't want to. You can just come and listen and type stuff out if you would like. And it'll be fun. Last time we did Rose of Versailles, we had a lot of fun with it. I decided that I wanted a big dress like the ones in Rose of Versailles. And it'll be fun, so come join us.
I'm sorry that I'm not wearing the dress today. It didn't come in time. I checked outside. People said it was coming. What you got, Mitz?
Real quick, so I noticed on iTunes for the last 10 or 11 years, we have never had less than a full 5-star rating on iTunes, which is something that until recently, no other anime podcast had that to their name. Although someone decided they would come through and dumped a bunch of 1-star reviews on us this past week, which dropped us down to like 4.6 stars, which had me set ablaze yesterday. I was very displeased. So I went to the masses, rallied the troops, tried to get people to come in and help lift us back up to 5 stars, which we have been since. But I would like to push us a little bit into like to some of a buffer zone here. So if people could go to iTunes, shameless plug, I know it's shameless. Just go to iTunes. You don't even have to write a 5-star review. Just click the star rater. Just click the 5. You're done. It takes 2 seconds. Help us make sure we can keep these 5 stars because I was on fire yesterday. I was so mad. I was like writing iTunes. I got one of the reviews pulled down. I was on fire. So yeah, help us out.
I haven't even looked. Was it like just one person?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how iTunes you have to be signed in to do anything really, but people just like writing reviews that, you know, they felt like spam. So I don't know.
That makes me sad.
But we're back to 5 stars, but we have enough people that I think we can get some buffer back. So I don't get set ablaze again. Nobody wants that. I don't smell good when I'm burning. You know, we don't want that. I have no hair. You won't have no hair smell burning, but by the way, I am freshly shaved today. I am extra squeaky, so on top and bottom. So I will say yes. Okay,
you just got to commit and knock out the eyebrows.
No, sir. All right, now that I've done that, what are we doing today?
But if you guys have constructive feedback, please let us know because I would like to do better and know what I'm doing wrong.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Until you tell me, I don't know. So, but yeah, coming up in the show, we have our summer 2020 picks, and so that's going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting because, as we know, a lot of things were canceled and moved, so it seems like a very light season. But there's some cool things in here, and we're excited to talk about them. And also we have a review of Drifting Dragons, which was one of Mason's picks from winter and available on Netflix, and we'll be talking about that later.
At some point during this podcast today, I will learn why it is called Drifting Dragons. I will figure this out. I still have no idea, but we'll see. Anything else?
Now let's jump into the big news of the week.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
The big news is Studio Trigger will be producing Cyberpunk Edge Runners, an anime series based on the upcoming CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk 2077. It's an adaptation of the 1988 tabletop role-playing game, which is scheduled for release on November 19th. And it's Studio Trigger, so you're going to get all your favorites from there. Imaishi, Yoshinari, Kaneko, all these. I'm sure it'll have all the flair and, design and aesthetic components of a Trigger show that we've come to love. Have they released the PV for this yet?
I haven't seen one.
I didn't see one either, but maybe I might have missed it.
No, I think the one that I saw was just background art, I think.
Yeah, I think it was just a couple stills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I mean, it's considering how much hype there is for this game, and let's be honest, a lot of hype.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting that they're gonna make an anime adaptation of it, which just makes the hype even bigger. And then to have it be Trigger on top of it. I mean, I'm not a huge Trigger fan. I never have been, but I know that a lot of people do love Trigger a lot, and they have good reasons for liking Trigger. And I don't know. I kind of wonder how they'll do with this, because to me this is more of like a Blade Runner type game. I know it's called like Edge Runner, but like I've seen the gameplay of it, and it looks super just like Blade Runner-y. But do you guys feel like Trigger's style really fits like that kind of grungy look of like a Blade Runner? Because that's the only thought I have about it.
I haven't seen a whole lot of the game, to be honest, but it's not the grungy look, but the neon bright look that I've seen. That will definitely lend, because a lot of Tromare and like Brand New Animals aesthetics very much relied on those like hyper focused bright blues, bright reds, and I think that will come through really nicely.
Okay.
So the anime is going to take place in the same universe as the game, but featuring an original story. I think, then actually, now that you mention it, didn't the Blade Runner remake also have an anime tie-in, like a 2-episode OVA?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't
Trigger.
It wasn't Trigger though.
No,
I don't remember who did it, but yeah, I do remember seeing that.
Those were all right. So it's a hip thing. I have a hard time getting super amped about it because it's not coming out on Netflix until 2022. So in my mind, I'm like, that is so far away that I'm glad it's happening, but it's like I want it now, especially because I feel like Netflix usually is like, oh, you want this new cool thing? It's coming out in 3 weeks, and I'm like, wow, awesome. I love when things get announced and dropped and are right around the corner. But nonetheless, I am excited.
Well,
yeah, I'm not the biggest Trigger fan. I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything that I really liked by them. I like their shorts, I think. Their series, they're not my favorite.
They're for me personally, they are on a downward trend. I haven't really dug a lot of their newest stuff, but at the end of the day, their stuff is just infused with a lot of personality and identity, and I will still check out whatever they put out.
I do think it'll be interesting seeing their art style for Cyberpunk, just from what I know of, or I have seen of Cyberpunk. It'll be an interesting take on it. But, and I haven't seen Promare yet, so I don't know about that. And I haven't seen Little Witch Academia. But everything else I'm kind of meh on. So I don't know. We'll see.
It's wild.
That's because you haven't seen enough of Inferno Cop, am I right?
Oh my god!
I watched all of Inferno Cop.
Well, then why is?
So I said I like the shorts.
It's crazy, but like with the exception of SSS Gridman, I've seen almost everything Trigger has done. I mean,
you know what?
Wild.
I haven't seen that either. I'm sorry.
You dropped an S, but I'm not gonna hold.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So
I know what you meant.
But yeah, I don't know. I wonder if they put the anime out to 2022 because they're like, you know what, the game took like 6 years, so maybe the anime, they're just baking in delays like ahead of time. They're just gonna assume
it's possible.
It's a joke, but I don't know. It just looks it feels very promising. It's very exciting because the game will come out and we'll play it for if you're like me, you'll play for a long time. It'll probably have DLC that'll come out, and then right about the time that the game is like out of your mind, you only have to wait like 5 or 6 months, and then boom, this anime will come out, and it'll be really cool, hopefully. And Netflix is gonna probably throw just a truckload of money at it, like they always seem to. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's pretty exciting. I think it's pretty interesting that and they're confident enough to announce it now, 2 years out, and means that they're excited too. So I think that's pretty neat. So
I think it just also helps another excuse to bring up the attention of the game. So it's like a co-marketing thing. So I think both sides win.
I think we're all gonna get Cyberpunk, I'm guessing. I mean, I'm getting it. So
Are you gonna get it for the PS4? I mean, I might just wait for the PS5 version because know that's the thing. That's a thing.
I probably will own a PS5 by like February 2021. I'm not going to get it like day one, but I will get it soon afterwards. So if I'm playing other games at that point, maybe I won't get Cyberpunk, but I will tell you that if it's even half as good as The Witcher 3, it will be awesome. If it even has a third as much naked Geralt in it as The Witcher 3, it will be even better. Because let's face it, Geralt is some sexy shit. He is. Okay. I wish I was half as sexy as Geralt.
Prediction time. Since you mentioned naked Geralt, is Geralt gonna make an appearance in Cyberpunk?
Oh, I hope.
What? You mean it's like an NPC?
Just like a side character. I think he has to make an appearance. I think
there's a side quest where you get some old woman's pan and bring it back to her. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think I've ever seen a game character as sexy as Geralt. So I mean, my opinion, but
I concur.
If he's in there, woo!
I just want you to walk.
Dante's pretty close though.
He is, yeah.
You should just walk into like this dystopian cyberpunk bar, and some like old dude reaches out to you from the corner, like, "Hey, want to play some Gwent?" And you just kind of like brush him away and just like keep on going. Like that's all I want it to be. Just a nice little nod.
Chibi Rob comes in perfectly. He says they already said they are going to provide an upgrade for the PS5, so you can buy it for PS4 and start it, and then continue it on the PS5. That is.
Is that an option for physical though?
That sounds just incredible. Like, who does that? I mean, that is fantastic. But I guess they figure, this game's been delayed so many times now that we're scratching the release of PS5, and nobody wants to straddle 2 consoles with a new game. So it makes sense, but it's a great service that they're doing for fans. So that's pretty neat.
I wonder if I know this isn't a video game podcast, but I'm wondering if they're going to release it on PC at the same time, or if it's going to have like an exclusive day. I hope so. I might play it on PC. We'll see.
We will find out. To bring it back, I want to mention that Bertman4 in the chat says that BNA, Brand New Animal, is coming to Netflix on June 30th. So that's the new Trigger show.
I need to see that too.
Now, essentially, by the time you're hearing this, it's out there. So give
that
a shot.
What I've learned from all of this is that I'm a Trigger noob. I realize all I know of Trigger is what was it? Darling in the Franxx, Kill la Kill, Gurren Lagann, and
that's not Trigger. It's technically Gynax, but all the Trigger people working on it.
Whatever.
But at least watch the OP and ED for Brand New Animal. That's the best part about it. So there you go.
Cool.
Anyway,
all right.
Anyway, we can move on.
All right, moving on to big in Japan, people.
日本のいいとこ見てみよう It's time to live big in Japan.
All right, so this is a more complicated living big in Japan, something that you may have to deal with if you're going to live in Japan, as opposed to maybe just traveling to Japan. But that is dealing with getting a car in Japan. Take notes, people. This is a big hurdle for you to jump over if you are going to be living there. If you're going to be teaching English in Japan, which, let's face it, most people want to go to Japan to just fuck around for a while, have like the life experience, totally support that. Great idea. If you're teaching English in Japan and they may put you in a rural location, and if they do, you will be driving. So be ready for that. So when you get to Japan, keep that in mind. Your company might set you up with a car, but they might not. So if you're in my case, we had a guy who helped set us up, but we still had to do all the expenses ourselves. So in Japan, as a foreigner, you will get no credit. So everything you buy will have to be in cash. So keep that in mind. That's the first thing. ideally you'll buy a K car. So a K car is a vehicle with an engine capacity of about 660 cc's. I had a Mitsubishi Minica that had about 79 horsepower, and I swear it didn't have anywhere near that many. I mean, it was like driving a lawnmower. But they are the best way to go because they are cheaper on taxes. The Shaken is cheaper, and we'll talk about that in just 5 seconds. It's going to be a piece of crap, but you'll learn to love it. I think I bought my Minica in cash for about $1,000. You can sell it when you leave, for, $800 maybe or something. So it's almost like you're renting it. Shaken in Japan, you have to get this. It is a multi-point government-mandated vehicle inspection that is extremely intense. It is not like our inspections where like some guy scratching his butt comes out of like a garage and looks at your car for 8 minutes and gives you a sticker to put on it. The Shaken is like a 75-point inspection. It is super intense. It's required for any vehicle that has over 250 cc's, which is practically everything. And if you have a brand new, even if you have like a perfectly maintained vehicle that is just flawless, you're going to spend like close to $1,000 for this inspection. So you have to do it. It's a 2-year inspection. You have to get it re-upped every 2 to 3 years. But it is cheaper on K cars. So that's why I say get the K car. If you have like a sports car, like they are going to crush you on Shaken. It is going to cost a fortune. You're going to pay like thousands and thousands of dollars, like $5,000 if you had like a fancy car. But if you have a K car, like a little crappy car, it'll be super cheap. So go for that. But you must get that. So make sure you get it. The dreaded driver's license exam. So people in the United States or wherever you're from, most people listening are from the U.S. And I don't know, I can't really speak to what like a driver's test is like in London. I know we have people in England, all through Europe. We have people from Australia. I can't speak to driver's tests in those countries, but in the United States, the driver's test is pretty easy. If you've ever seen the movie Clueless from the 90s, I just watched this movie the other day and it holds up so well. It's so good. Unless you're like the girl from Clueless who's like swerving into like the bike lane and almost killing the bikers and stuff, you will pass your driver's test in the United States. The only thing you gotta really know how to do is parallel park. In Japan, the driver's test is it's borderline crazy how hard it is. You will fail one time, I guarantee you. In fact, I think they fail you just on principle to like show you that driving is a big responsibility. As a person who had 10, 15, 20 teachers that I knew in Japan and they all had driver's license, none of them passed on the first time. Some people, I failed it once. Chiaki, who many of us remember, who departed the podcast years ago, failed it 4 times. And it is just a wild thing. I heard of a guy, I failed it the first time because I failed to look for a full 3 seconds into like the bike lane or some shit before turning every single time. I missed it like once. He failed me. I heard of another guy who said he failed it because he drove 3 inches too far to the right side of the road. It's just crazy. They will find any reason to fail you. The test is super hard. They'll say things like, oh, on this opening turn, you have to accelerate to exactly 50 miles an hour, enter the turn in this lane, and exit the turn at exactly 35 miles an hour. He's like instructing you in Japanese while you're doing it. They have sections where the road is so narrow that it's allowed to stop the car fully and back up in the middle of the test to like make these turns, because they have this section called the crank that is like 5 complete 90-degree turns where the road is only like 8 feet wide. And because that's what some Japanese streets are like, if you hit like any of these like chimes on the side of the road, you fail instantly. I mean, it's very hard. But the good news is that you can use an international driver's license for 1 year. You can get it from AAA. It'll cost you $20 maybe. It's fully legal for a year. I don't know. You could probably just drive around without a license at all and just feign ignorance until you get caught. But I would recommend taking the test. It is hard. Like, you will have to take the test and use a written test too, and it is in Japanese. So definitely failed it once. So, but if that in and of itself was like a living experience in Japan. They're very serious about their tests. And what is it like driving a car in Japan? They do drive on the left side of the road, so it's a little weird for people in the U.S. The speed limits are far lower. Even even interstate speeds are like rarely above 50 miles an hour. If you're on like non-major roads, the speed limit might be 25, 30. It's like it's a little lower than it would be here. Streets are sometimes super narrow. Like wow. Like I mean, it is like, they say the like fires in rural neighborhoods are really a problem because the houses are so close together that the fire can jump from house to house super easily, and it's because the streets are so narrow. Even like the fire trucks in Japan are like built a certain way to be able to like go down these tiny little like alleys, and they're all over the place. And so just be ready for that. A few people in cities own cars, but as a teacher, you may have to have one, like I said, to drive. I had 5 schools, and I was driving every day. So definitely an experience. I did have one time coming back from a Don Quixote, which is kind of like a Walmart, at like midnight. I was like full on driving it on the right side of the road because I'm tired. And I almost had a head-on collision with another car once. I was like real close to hitting that guy. So just be careful. Driving in Japan is definitely interesting. So, green means go, red means stop, and yellow means okay, 3 more cars. So actually, it's more like I got that wrong. It's green means go, yellow is caution, and red is okay, 3 more cars because they will slip through on red, and it's because Japan is like so safety heavy. They're just obsessed with safety. Like both traffic lights will be red for like a full 6 seconds before one of them changes to green because they just want to make sure everything's cool. So people know that, and they'll just like fuck it. They'll just like jump through on red.
Now, what if you're visiting Japan and you want to rent a car? Are there any like strict rules on that?
I feel like you would need the international license.
You absolutely would. I'm sure about that. I've never done that, Mandy. My assumption is that it's possible, but I don't have much experience with that. But I would think that at like the airport, you could probably get it done pretty easily. I don't know what it would cost, but you would. I mean, I'm sure you'd have to have the international license, but you don't have to do shit for that. You just go to AAA. You probably can go online, and they just like mail it. They just go in, and they're like, "Oh, you just hand them your driver's license." They go, "Okay, looks good," and then they just hand you a piece of paper and you sign it. I mean, it's like it takes 10 seconds. So, but that's a good question. I never thought of that, but I would find it very hard to believe that you would need a rental car in Japan just because the trains are so connected.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, it might happen. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're driving someplace that like is crazy in the middle of nowhere.
One bus a day.
a one bus town. Mm-hmm. So I think the key takeaways here are people get a K car. If you have to get a car, it'll save you insane money. And just all kinds of things. Get the AAA driver's license. You'll be set for a year. And the only way you would even have to think about the driver's test, and it is hell, by the way, you will have to take a day off work. You got to drive to like the capital or whatever the prefecture is, which is probably going to be like forever away. Unless you're going to stay more than a year, you won't even have to think about that because the driver's license, the international license is good for a year. So, and that's about it. So, any other questions?
No, that was interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sounds awful, and I plan on never doing it.
It was one of the largest expenses we had living in Japan because it was something like nearly $3,000 a vehicle right off the bat. So, so it's tough, but I mean, if you have to do it, you have to do it. So, okay, that's living big in Japan.
Alrighty, well, thank you. I guess next we have our website trivia, which you can find if you go to aaapodcast.com. Scroll down, there is a little picture there. If you guess what anime it is from, then you can win prizes. And the current theme is Mason's lesser-known favorites. Is this the last week for that?
Are you getting excited, Mandy? It is. You know that.
Why am I next?
The one that is currently, there's one more week, so after that.
After this one more.
Yeah.
And before you choose Enzo next.
Never. Well, I mean, Enzo's not here. I mean, how could I?
True.
I'm also not as salty about getting this theme, so don't worry, Mandy. You're next on the.
Alrighty. Well,
we'll give Enzo the lightest punishment ever. We'll be like, you know what, Enzo, you were gonna be next on the thing, but you know what? No,
we'll
not
just
anymore.
wait till February next year.
You're punished.
So he gets less weeks.
Enzo
we'll
was
do
never gonna.
Enzo's for him and just do clips of all of the giant list of hentai he has to review.
Yes, because he's very behind. Again.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, the answer for last week was Tekkon Concrete. And this week's winner is Zero Ryoko 1974. So
Ooh,
congrats. That's a very long name.
it is.
But awesome. So, and with that, we are going into our news break. And we have a question for you, which we will answer after the break. The question is, Drifting Dragons is produced by Polygon Pictures. What was the first anime based on a manga that Polygon Pictures produced? And if you can guess the year it came out, you will get bonus nothing points.
You can
No,
rub.
you win 0 plus 0 is still 0.
You can rub my bald, lotioned head.
I give you permission to dab if you get the year correct.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
yeah.
a
you win.
one-time dab pass.
Dab pass. So don't go anywhere, stick around, and we'll be back soon.
Well, hello there, anime addicts. It's Mitsugi, and it's time for your anime news break. Getting us started off with a little bit of a throwback to the past with The World Ends With You, Subarashiki Kono Sekai, the Square Enix RPG that came out on the DS way back in the 2000s, 2007, is going to be getting an anime. So for those of you that are excited about that, look forward to that anime coming up with more details on July 3rd at the Anime Expo event that's going to be happening. The synopsis for those of you that don't know about The World Ends With You, Neku Sakuraba is a 15-year-old boy with a hobby for music and graffiti, and he wakes up in what seems to be the Shibuya shopping district of Tokyo, Japan, with no idea why he's there. He opens his hand and realizes he's holding a strange black pin, and flipping it in his hand, thoughts of the people around him swirl, and he realizes he has the power to read minds. Suddenly, a cell phone rings in his pocket, and it reads, "Reach 104. You have 60 minutes. Fail and face erasure," by the Reapers. Unable to delete the message, the 60 minutes imprints on his right hand, and he has to play the Reapers game, which spans a total of 7 days. All players of the Reapers game have a black pen with a skull embedded on it. Look forward to The World Ends With You coming out sometime soon. The release date is unknown. Next up, the light novel The Irregular at Magic High School, Maho Kakoko no Retose, is ending its manga run after 12 years with the 32nd volume. So that's a pretty long run for a manga, but it looks like it's going to be ending sometime around the middle of September. I won't read the synopsis, but you'll recall that it actually had an anime that came out, 2 seasons, I think, that came out before. Madhouse produced a 26-episode anime back in the spring of 2014. So, and also there was a film by Studio 8-Bit that opened in Japan in 2017. If you're a fan of Regular of Magic High School, maybe this means you'll get more of the anime. We'll have to see. Next up, Kumo desu ga Nanika, or So I'm a Spider, So What? The anime series, it revealed that it's going to be having 2 cores, and it's going to begin airing on January 21st. So it looks like it's been delayed for some time due to COVID, but they now have at least another release date for you. The world where the hero and the Demon King continue to oppose each other, the grand magic from the hero to the Demon King crossed over worlds and exploded into the classroom of a certain high school. The students who died in the explosion will be reincarnated in a different world. The protagonist, who has the lowest reputation in the class, was reincarnated into a spider. Nevertheless, she adapted quickly to the present condition with strong willpower. Sounds like a very sort of unique isekai anime where the character is reborn as something other than a human, which kind of has tones of that slime anime that came out a while back. Next up, Studio 4 Degrees Centigrade is getting has to pay 2.8 million yen in unpaid overtime to its employees. So that's about $26,800 following a suit that was filed against the studio for labor abuses. The suit was filed back in October, and they had a trial this past week. According to the report, the studio transferred the money to the employee at the beginning of June without prior notice. This was despite the fact that the employee had filed the suit on the grounds that he was being used to work flexible hours despite not being written into his contract. So there was no judgment in the trial, which means they might have come to a settlement. But it looks like at least it's somewhat of a win for the animators of the anime industry. Quote, "The anime and creative industries are filled with jobs that don't set flexible hours, but instead pay a set amount on the conditions that they can make you work as much as they want. I hope that this case can inform the next battles. It sounds like salary to me, but regardless, a victory for animators as they have won this case over Studio 4 Degree Centigrade and have set a precedent. This is Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. And now, of course, as we always do, it's time to get back to the podcast. Anime Addicts, there are all new snacks available over at jbox.com. jbox.com and jlist.com, they have just a massive, unbelievably massive selection of snacks and drinks from all across Japan. Some of the new ones include the Morinaga Premium Sweet Potato Caramel, as well as the Morinaga Premium Haichu Double Melon flavor, which sounds pretty nice. The Fujiya Roasted Green Tea Milky Candy, Crazy Neru Neru Nerune Cola flavor, Petite Seaweed Cheese Snack, and of course, who can forget, Glico's Cream Rich Milk flavor. Listen, you don't know what any of the snacks are probably because they have very indescriptive names, but you are curious, I'm sure. So you should head over to jlist or jbox.com and browse their giant selection of snacks. You head over there, you enjoy all the wild sorts of fun snacks you've never tried before at a very cheap price. And with the help of jbox.com, you'll be eating your Japanese snacks while you watch anime, just like you would if you lived in Japan. So have that experience for yourself, enjoy some fun snacks, and you'll be supporting the podcast over at jlist and jbox.com.
Hi, this is Kate Oxley, voice of Akane Tsunemori in Psycho-Pass, How Guilty Are You? And I am a total anime addict.
All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. A very cute dog sitting next to me on the floor over here. Very cute. What are you doing down there? Can't really. Oh, there she is. Oh, look at you.
Aww.
All right, guys. Intro trivia question. Drifting Dragons is produced by Polygon Pictures. What was the first anime based on a manga that Polygon Pictures produced? The answer is Knights of Sidonia, which I think a third season of has been greenlit, so we'll have to see when that's coming out. And that was in 2014. If you got it, dab. All right.
Did you figure out why it's called Drifting Dragons yet? Or is that mystery still elusive?
The damned anime should have been called Eating with Dragons or Dinner with Dragons, because all they do is eat. Every 5 minutes they're
How
eating.
to eat your dragon.
How to eat your dragon.
Why do you think I passed it?
I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, it had to have been. Well, it did look pretty nice. We'll talk about it later.
The main character is basically Mason.
Pretty much.
Mayhaps.
Pretty much.
He's like, I'm just constantly hungry.
Also, I found my Japanese. Is this camera like gonna be not shitty enough to show you this? I found my Japanese driver's license. So that's what it looks like. When you get a blue, when the strip is blue, it means you're a newbie, and when you get it renewed, they give you a green one. So this is
that
my.
you with hair?
It is. It's frightening. I know.
Crazy.
I
It doesn't
know.
even look like you.
Ah! I break glass. I put that away. Holy shit.
It's like when anime characters put on glasses and they're a completely different person. Same thing.
Yeah, this was like right before I gave up. So, all right, guys. Now it's time for Mandy's Manga Minute. We know that this manga will be made into an anime within 6 months. Are you ready, Mandy?
I doubt that, but yes, I'm ready.
And now, let's take a minute for the Manga Minute with Mandi.
This is Mandy's Manga Minute, where I take a minute to tell you about a manga and help you find something new to read. And this one is called 7 Days, Monday to Sunday. This one's actually pretty popular, and yeah, I'm surprised it's taken me so long to do it. But the synopsis, which I think I took this one off any list. I usually take it off one of the sites, whichever one I come to first. But the synopsis is, it is rumored that Toji Serio, one of the most popular boys at school, will go out with anyone who asks him out on a Monday morning. But on this particular Monday morning, the first person he meets at the school gate is no other than Yuzuro Shino, Serio's senpai at the archery club. On a whim, and well aware of Serio's reputation, Shino asks Serio to go out with him. Thinking that it will be treated as just a joke, imagine Shino's surprise when Serio takes him up on the offer. There is a catch though. While Serio will go out with the first person who asks him out on a Monday morning, the other side of the coin is that by the end of the week, he will break up with that person. In essence, Serio is a lover with a 1-week expiration date. But will Shino prove to be the exception to that rule? 7 Days is a BL slice of life written by Venio Tachibana and illustrated by Rihito Takari. Sorry, that's a hard one to pronounce. Takari. It was released in Japan as 2 volumes, but it is available in English as a 2-in-1 book. I have it right here on stream if you're watching live. The series has also released a Japanese live-action film, 2 of them in 2015. And if you're familiar with the genre, you may have heard the name Rihito Takari as one of the authors of 10 Count. If you have read 10 Count, I guarantee this one is a much different tone than that one. It's nowhere near as mature as 10 Count. But this series was released back in 2007, and Rihito at that time was still developing her own art style. The art is very clean, but you'll occasionally come across some proportion issues, mainly tiny heads. That's what I noticed. But Serio and Shino have an awkward introduction to each other, but most of the book focuses on them doing things that you would expect a typical dating couple to do. They go to movies, they go out on walks, they text each other every morning. But towards the end of the week, Shino realizes that he doesn't want this to end and starts to wonder if Serio ever even stays friends with the people that he's dated. There's an entire section in this featuring a jealous ex-girlfriend who attempts to tear them apart, which is a trope that I hate in pretty much all romance stories. So fortunately, that soured me a little bit. But if you ignore that, the tiny portion, it's not much, it's just a tiny bit. But 7 Days is an examination into what it means to be in a relationship and watching it unfold in a very charming way. And it has some clean art with attractive character design. So, if you're a fan of BL, this isn't my favorite, definitely not my favorite, but I thought it was a pretty good read, and if you are a fan of the genre, I think it's definitely worth checking out. So, I'm happy with it.
I have 2 questions. You can choose to answer neither of them. Is it tiny heads or just big bodies?
Tiny heads.
And
let me find an example. There were a few where, like when when the camera's like pulled far away from them, I was like, the head looks a little bit too small.
Not just like 2 kids in a trench coat kind of thing?
No. Let me see if I can find an example. I should have came prepared for that, but.
And what is her next work going to be? 4 seasons?
Oh, maybe. It took me a second. I thought that was a serious question. I was like, oh.
Do you expect me to do anything seriously on the show?
I was thinking, like, was that announced? I was like, wait, Mason wouldn't know that.
No, I don't.
I didn't come prepared, but I'll keep looking for it.
I believe you.
Cool. We ready for some arguments?
Yes, we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to another episode of Anime Arguments, where we take your hot takes, unpopular opinions, and thoughtful questions, and we respond to them with our own opinions. This one comes from Shi no Tenshi, and they write, "My friends and I have constant debates about which is the best anime studio. I personally think that A1 Studio has the most consistent artwork. I was wondering, what is your opinion? Right up front, it's always worth stating that studios are an umbrella. They gather the resources and the funding. At the end of the day, a studio and a piece of art is made by the people who make those things more than the company that provides it. Every studio out there has come out with great works and duds, so there's no means a foolproof way of assessing a show's quality. Being done by X studio doesn't inherently make it good or bad. This is definitely a hot take because I feel like I definitely tend to hear more distaste towards A1 Pictures than other studios. Besides perhaps Studio Dean, I think Studio Dean gets a lot of crap, but they're on the upturn. But for A1, I feel like they endlessly just churn out like more of a quantity over quality sort of corporate approach. They don't have a ton of like in-house like ownership roles in terms of like directors or kind of people that head up works. It's more of just animators and things like that. And I think that kind of leads to a lack of identity or excitement when a show's done by them. Kind of the opposite of when I talked about Trigger earlier, where you kind of know a Trigger show instantly when you see it. A1 shows can kind of vary across the board. A1 is definitely one of my least favorite studios. They're kind of in the bottom third on shows that I've rated, but at the end of the day, their artwork is indeed really consistent. But for me, consistency is not what I look for in a studio. It's kind of like a gymnast walking across a balance beam. Like, sure, they made it across. They didn't fall, but they didn't do anything interesting along the way. So this is, once again, just a fun debate to have, and there's no right or wrong answer. My favorite studios, current year 2020, is if what they were about to release, how excited would I be? Studio Shaft, Studio Wit, MAPPA, Science Saru, and Studio Orange have all been killing it, and if they come out with anything, I would be super excited to check it out. So what are your guys' favorite studios?
I'm curious. It's interesting they chose A1 as like their favorite. It's interesting. I don't know who wrote this, and I'm definitely not saying that you're not right or anything like that. It's your own opinion. But I wonder if maybe if you watch a lot of shonen, because I was trying to think, I was like, man, they've done a lot of shonen series though.
They have
Fairy Tail and like a lot of really popular ones.
SAO is what they're most known for, but they also come out with a couple shows every season. Like
that's true.
So much stuff that I don't know, it's just out there. So
I think in terms of consistency, mine is still KyoAni. It's my favorite visually.
Yeah. And
I like Shaft. Shaft has some really cool presentation to their shows too.
Heck yeah.
For me, I don't really like KyoAni's content very much. But their art is unbelievable, and I think the question was more about art. So I think, how can I possibly deny KyoAni's art quality? I mean, it's like otherworldly, in a way. I think my favorite studio, it's probably Madhouse. I think Madhouse seems to make stuff I enjoy more, like, the Hajime Repos, the Parasites, the what have you. But, I mean, I don't think anybody can really match up to... I think when we did that really fun topic a while back, which I'd like to do again, maybe for, like, directors or something, was like, oh, which is the best studio? And then we kind of, like, went through we went through, like, 3 rounds of culling them, and then we decided... And I think Madhouse and KyoAni were, like, the 2 last ones remaining on the list. Mm-hmm. And we ultimately chose KyoAni, so I'm pretty happy with that answer. I think KyoAni has better art. It's probably the best. I hope it continues to be the best, even after all that's happened. But I think that personally, I like Madhouse, even though they treat their employees like shit. But I just like their
something very opposite of KyoAni.
Yeah, I mean,
I've heard about KyoAni, like they're just industry and just the culture they have around their stuff. Just is like, yes, just inherently makes me want to cheer for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
sure.
No. People, and I want to give a shout out to all the people who respond with their own opinions on like Twitter or Facebook or Discord, because I like reading what you guys think about your responses to these arguments and learn about the people. So give me your favorite studios there. And with that, we can move on to our main topic. It's a big one, boys.
I'm pumped up for this. I will say that, going back to that last thing for a second, they liked Shina Tenshi liked A1. A1 does make me feel so Moon. I will say that. So I do feel so Moon when I watch A1, and if you've seen Space Brothers, you'll know what I mean. But
I was gonna say I don't know what that means.
it's like the first theme song of Space Brothers has like 8 theme songs, and most of them are really amazing. And the first one, there's a line that says, "I feel so moon."
How long is Space Brothers?
It's
99
Yep.
episodes.
I could do that.
You really should.
Easy.
It's fucking amazing.
You're like, it's not even 100 plus. Why bother?
Yeah, that's like an afternoon, guys.
No, I
Space
think you'd really
Brothers.
dig it.
Space Brothers is, I mean, it is so fucking good. I mean, it is almost tragic that it didn't get finished in the anime, but wow. Okay. So we have a lot to do here, guys. We have the summer 2020 season. It is a shorter season. It's shorter in the sense that there aren't as many anime. I think we all know why. We are going to cover just about everything from the season. I do have thumbnail photos of every anime. Oh, I still have the Manga Minute image up. I do have an image for every anime that we're going to be covering today. So I'd love to play the PVs for you, but we just can't. So, but I think an image will be okay. Even though this season has less anime in it, there are some really interesting things here to look at. So, and a lot of ecchi stuff.
Yeah.
a lot of it.
This season, just all boobs.
It's just the season of tatas. Hey, it is summer. Get those bikinis out. I don't know, whatever. So
Can't wait for the sequel, Ryopai. It's my favorite.
okay, great. So I'll go first. We'll just go in order on the chart. Who's gonna cover Mason?
I was gonna.
Ooh,
You mean
who is
Enzo?
gonna cover Enzo?
Or not Mason. Sorry. Who's gonna cover Enzo? My bad.
Yeah, I feel bad because I haven't looked at any of his, so
Oh,
I
can cover
apologize.
one of his, that's for sure. I'll make do. I'll make do.
All right. Well, we'll just jump in where we're needed. We'll go left to right here on the document, and I will go first. On my first anime here, and I like mine pretty well. I won't lie. Is Mao? This is such a cliche anime, though. It's ridiculous. Mao Gakuin no Futeki Gosha, or otherwise known as the Misfit of Demon King Academy. And I think the reason why I had this like listed number 7, so I didn't want it like desperately or anything, but it did kind of. I think the artwork interested me, the PV interested me, and I'm not gonna lie, it looked like almost like a sequel to How to Not Summon a Demon Lord. I haven't looked too far into it, but boy, it looks similar. So done by Studio Silverlink that did Kokoro Connect, Bakuto Test, and the director is O Numashin, who did C3, The Money of the Soul, and whatever, and also directed Bakuto Test. So 2,000 years after 2,000 years has passed, the ruthless demon lord has just been reincarnated, but his aptitude at the academy for nurturing candidates for demon lords is inept? What? Having the capability to destroy humans, elementals, and gods after a long period of countless wars and strife, Arnos, the demon lord, became sick and tired of all of that, and longed for a peaceful world, so he decided to reincarnate to the future. However, what awaited him after his reincarnation is a world too used to peace that his descendants became too weak due to a huge weakening in magical powers. That's the synopsis. So watch the trailer. Just tons of fighting and action with magic. That was the bulk of I think even someone like spins a castle on top of their finger. I mean, there was some crazy shit going on. It didn't look at all ecchi in the trailer. Can't speak to the anime itself. Haven't seen it, obviously. But it didn't seem ecchi in the trailer. I'm checking the tag here to see if there's any like ecchi on it. It's based on a light novel. There is no ecchi tag on the anime. So despite looking like How to Not Summon a Demon Lord, it doesn't seem ecchi. So if you're like one of those magical school anime people, this one will probably be good for you. So that's the Misfit of Demon King Academy. My first pick.
Nice. Before I get to my number 5 pick, just want to give a shout out. I think we talked about it in the news breaks last week. Please Take My Brother Away season 4 is coming. We will not be reviewing it because season 4, but if you want very short, great comedy extravaganza, please check it out. Okay, anyway, moving on. My number 5 selection is Yu Yao, aka Are You Okay? This is a comedy action historical work. This is a Chinese production with super fluid looking 3D done by Shenying Animation and or Beijing Sound and Film. I got 2 different sources telling me 2 different things, so I'm not sure which it is. I have no idea what I'm getting into with this. It is about an imperial court who is looking to improve their society by accepting and talented foreigners and kind of assigning them roles based on their talents. Apparently one of these strangers comes in and identifies like a large conspiracy, and this alliance is formed to kind of overthrow the system. And there's like no synopsises anywhere from what I could tell. This looks, I can't tell if it's going to be more comedy, if it's going to be more like plotting and scheming and action. I think it's supposed to be goofy overall, but kind of this was a end of the list pick, just trying to fill up the slots with what we had. And I feel like a lot of seasons, there's always a show or two that none of us really have on our radar. And everyone's like, oh man, this show was amazing. How come you guys didn't review it? We didn't know about it. I think that's not going to be the case this year. I think we're going to cover everything to such an immense degree that anything good we'll find out to talk about it. So,
did you say immensery?
Is that a word?
Maybe. I probably messed it up. Just go with the flow and
okay.
Just ignore everything I say,
Cast.
and you'll be good. It's a good thing this is not an audio-based thing where people need to understand what I'm saying. Anyway, Yu Yao is what it's called. I don't even know if this is going to be full-length episodes, but the CG actually looks good. So, and it's a Chinese production, which has tended to be pretty good from what I can see. So I'm excited to check it out.
Cool. Who's going to take Enzo's?
Up next is Enzo's number 5 pick, which is Lapis Relights. And this is a mixed media project which has magical girl schools in like an idol academy. So it follows a group of students training to become idols. And
She's cute on the cover.
And they use magic as part of their like performances. This is done by Yokohama Animation Lab, and the only thing I've seen from them is 1 episode of Meru Tights. So I don't think it will be like that in any sort of way, but there you go.
God, so many people like that tight show.
What the hell is that? Miracle Tights? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Meru Tights. It's just a leg and feet and tight fetish show.
Just a short about girls putting on tights.
Listen, it's got what the people want.
Okay, fuck it.
But this show looks like your baseline idol cute girl show, and it seems moderately well put together based on the PV. Very cute voices, very genki, goofy characters doing their thing. So it seems like you're going to get a large cast of characters to cheer for, and it's a music show, so that's probably why he put it on his list. So that's Lapis Relights.
Yeah, she's cute on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to admit something.
Uh-oh.
I was looking through this season. I was like, oh, man. That, like, out of everything, there's like a total of maybe 5 shows that I want to watch. 3 I put on my list. The other 2 I didn't even put on my list because I was being nice for other people. So I put down 3 shows on my list, and I told Mitz, hey, Mitz, surprise me. Because literally there's nothing else I want to watch. It was hard, guys. I was looking through this list. I'm sorry. I'm usually I try to stay very positive. I'm like, you know what, give it a try. I was looking through the list, and I was like, I can't. There's nothing on here that I'm interested in. So I asked Mitz to surprise me, and boy, did he. Whew. So my first one is called Cho Futsu Toshi Kashiwa Densetsu. It is a 10-episode, super short series. Each episode's only 6 minutes. And it's by a studio called Super Normal Studio.
Oh my god.
This looks awful.
I gotta tell you, Mandy, the first 2 words of the Japanese title mean super normal.
Super Normal Toshi Kashiwa.
Yeah, Chofutsu
Densetsu.
is like
Splendidly average. My
super
favorite.
average. Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't look average. It looks way below it. So they're trying real hard. And I'm usually the one who tries to stay positive about stuff, guys.
Sometimes
That's true.
baseline like pessimistic like looks, and it might end up better than you're expecting. And
Maybe.
you'll be like, it wasn't that bad, as it's still bottom tier.
But it is a gag anime. It says it's set in Kashiwa. It's featuring high school girls and mysterious creatures. But when I was watching the PV for it, this looks like, even for visual novels, an extremely low budget visual novel. with Flash style characters who don't move. It's just stills with their mouth moving sometimes, and occasionally you get a realistic background. Guys, I think I can say this isn't going to pass.
Oh, come now.
It'll be a trip watching it though.
Have you ever been to Kashiwa?
No, I have not.
Well, I mean, come on. It's
And
very
that
average.
picture of the art of it is really cute. That is not what it looks like on the PV. So maybe it bamboozled me and I watch it. It's just hilarious. We'll see. Low expectations.
Oh, okay. Well, they can't all be winners now, can they?
Oof.
All right. So the next one I'm doing here is one of the anticipated sequels of the season. That is Fire Force Season 2. We all know what Fire Force is. It's done by David Productions, same studio, done by Minamikawa Tatsuma, who directed Fire Force 1. It's available on Funimation. I mean, we all know what Fire Force is. This is just the sequel. So it's about, without even looking, infernals, which are like demons, basically, that human beings can basically spontaneously combust into these undead demon monsters called infernals. And amongst it all, there are a group of firefighters that are broken down into like divisions, and their job is to go around and extinguish the infernals that pop up to protect, public health or whatever. And so it was definitely a very action-packed show, very action-packed. Ended kind of on a high note. So if you watched Fire Force Season 1, I was pretty much bored for most of it, and then at the end it kind of started to get good. And it was obvious there was going to be a second season, so we will have to see if this one, if it merits passing or not. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just be more of the same. We'll have to see. But Fire Force Season 2 is back. If you're a fan of that, you will want to check that out this season coming up. So it's getting hot, people. It's summer. It's hot, and so Fire Force is hot, so let's do it. That's all I got to say. We all know what Fire Force is. Moving on.
My number 4 pick is another, what I'm assuming to be a short. This is The Time for Culture, folks. Give me a nay if you're excited. This is Umayan. This is a... Thank you. That was pretty good, actually. This is a spin-off of the legit, no joke, I am being serious here, surprisingly well done Uma Musume, the Horse Girl Pretty Derby show. This is a video game based work by PA Works from spring of 2018. You can find it on Crunchyroll. That is a surprisingly good show. Check it out. This is the 4-Coma spin-off version done by W-Toon Studio, which have done mostly shorts, which I'm expecting this to be. The only full length I think that they've done is the Anime Gatteries. It's kind of like a bland show about being an otaku. It's fine. It's whatever. It looks very average, but I think if they adapt the charm of the original show in kind of a cutesy 4-Coma style, it will look all right. And I could dig it. Once again, I'm with Mandi. I don't think there's going to be a lot of great, wow, this is going to be a must-watch show in your anime repertoire, but it could be nice. It could be cute. It could be fun. We'll see what comes of it, but it's Umayan and it's what it is. I'll tell you, I'll probably like it than Enzo's number 4 pick, which is Pita Grill to Kenja no Jikan, or Peter
come
Grill
on.
and the Philosopher's Time, which is
Peter Grill?
Yeah. Everyone's favorite Japanese hero, Peter Grill. And here's the synopsis from my anime list. These are not my words. Do not hate me. It says, Peter Grill is known throughout the land as the world's strongest fighter. Okay, I'm with it so far. He has a girlfriend who he is steadily trying to get closer with. Okay, I'm connecting the dots. Life is good for him. Good. Until he realizes that dozens of women who want to bear strong children are all vying for his seed. Cue to picture of a dude running away in his underwear with just a collage of ladies just lustfully around him, just like, yeah, he's a good mate. He's a good candidate for this. I'm expecting this to be your typical harem comedy with like a fantasy twist as they go around and people are being wooed all over him. I watched the PV, and the sounds in the show look really good. From the music that was playing in the background to the voices, they sound pretty good and fun. But I have no idea what this will serve besides the ecchi crew. But who knows? It could be a fun time if they.
I'm fucking down with these pink like demon looking girls with the horns. I'm fucking down with yeah. Let's
I have
go.
a question. So lately we've been getting a lot of the hentai series where they make where they censor it and then they release the censored version as like an ecchi. Is this one of those? Is there like a hentai version of this and it's a short?
I know some shows this season do the if you want the censored version, it's like 18 minutes, but if you get the uncensored version, it's the full length or something like that. I will look up to see if this is one of them. There's so many, I don't know which is which.
The description of it makes it sound like it is. That's why I was curious if we're also going to see this on the hentai list.
We all know that our dear friend Icy Rose
Yeah.
said in our war room chat that lol, quote, I quote, this is a quote, lol, Enzo has Peter Grill, which has a censored broadcast half the length of the uncensored one.
I'm
Half.
I know my
the
fake
length.
hentai.
So in other words, there is going to be sexy pink demon girl with horns nudity all night long, and I am down. So
We'll probably see this again on the hentai list.
And
I don't
actually,
like when
the elf
characters
girl's
are
good
wearing a
too.
shirt so tight that you can see like where their belly button is. I feel like
love
that's
it.
too. That's not. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Bring on the demon girls. Bring them on. Give me them all. I want them all of them.
I think you will know, dear listener, if this show is for you or not. So check it out if it seems interesting. It's done by Studio None Available, which I don't know what they've done.
Okay.
It's a joke. It hasn't been announced.
So my next one, again, another one that was a surprise,
Yeah.
is Uzaki-chan wa Osobitai, or it translates to Azaki-chan, Uzaki-chan wants to hang out. It's by Studio Engi. It is a manga adaptation. I looked up the manga on Mao. It doesn't have a fantastic score. It's actually not that bad, though. I think it was like a 7.4. So, but only for like 3,000 people. And so it's not a terrible score, but it's also not one that makes me go, oh, this is going to be really funny and good. But it's going to be 12 episodes. It's a comedy ecchi. I'm not sure who is picking this up yet, so we'll see when that releases. The director is Kazuya Miura, who actually directed Poco's Udon World, which I actually really liked. I thought that was a really cute series. And the synopsis is Sakurai Shinichi's one wish is for a little peace and quiet, but Uzaki Hana, who his boisterous, well-endowed classman, has other plans. All she wants is to hang out and poke fun at him. With the help of her chipper charm and peppy persistence, this might just be the start of a beautiful relationship. So I watched the PV. The art's pretty typical. It doesn't look awful, but it also kind of just looks generic. The animation doesn't look that bad, but the main girl has a very large chest area. She has a shirt that says Sugoi Dekai on it, which is just very large.
Oh, yeah.
So accurate. She has very accurate shirts. I don't know, it could be funny. I don't have high expectations for it because I don't know, the synopsis of it doesn't sound like it's going to be that funny. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm always iffy on ecchi comedies. Like, I don't hate them all the time. Sometimes they're good. This one, I don't know. Maybe it'll surprise me. We'll see.
Well, just so you know, Mandy, I basically went down the list of shows that hadn't been picked and just gave you the next ones that hadn't been taken. So, no,
It's cool.
there was no strategy behind it really, other than picking the
next
popular
one's
ones.
wild, so we'll see.
Oh yeah, well we'll see. All right, guys. So the next one here is oh boy, it's my what did I have this ranked number 4.
This is your number 4 on your list.
I was a little spoiled. I got most of what I wanted, people. I mean, but I don't usually roll the dice all that well. We all rolled badly this time. This one is the anime, as I get the thumbnail up, is called Doku Hentai HX Eros by Studio Number 9. And they did And You Thought There Is Never a Girl Online, and that is an anime title. And also recently, My Little Sister Is Unusual, aka I Peed Into a Toilet for 4 straight episodes. Directed by Jimbo Masato of Chaos Child and Shido Neko Project, which I just failed like last season. Synopsis: In a world on the verge of a on the verge of a great destruction that began 5 years ago, heroes who, with the help of a device called HX Eros, use the power of ecchi, an erotic power to save the planet from libido-devouring monsters.
Oh my god.
And I watched the trailer, and I won't lie, I got this weird like Captain Planet vibe, because they're all like putting their hands together, and they have these like wristwatches on, and they like, it's almost like they're putting their, Captain Planet, it's like rings. Well, they're like this huge monster. It's giant. It's basically like a kaiju. And they're like, oh, ecchi power, or bullshit, whatever. And then they put their hands together and their wristwatches, and then they like power up. And magical boys, magical girls.
Captain Planet, saving hentai.
Save those titties. Yeah, okay. So it's going to be, I don't know what to make of it. It's what is happening with this season. I don't know, but it looks like it could be fun. I mean, I liked the trailer was fun, and the promo art's fun. So who knows? This might be one of those shows that's like ends up being really popular. You don't know. So that's Dokyu Hentai HX Eros.
This season is now good because we got that song by Mandi and Mitz. That's so drop worthy. Okay, my number 3 selection is Koito producer Evol X Love, which is Evol just love backwards. Anyway, otherwise known as Love and Producer, which is based on a video game called Mr. Love, Queen's Choice, which is a Chinese female visual novel game where a girl inherits a media company from her father, and she becomes a producer for a cavalcade of 4 boys that she must manage, and is involved with mysteries and the existence of special powers. So I pretty much picked this just because it's done by Studio Mappa. It's done by the director of Sailor Moon Crystal and Zombieland Saga, so it's Mappa. Maybe that will make it good. I am not too sure what we're going to be getting, but it looks like they actually weren't just like a cheap throwaway thing, but actually put their skills and budget behind it. So if it looks and moves and sounds as good as their other stuff, it might be one of the better shows from this season. So
I'm pretty sure it's a rhythm game, either a rhythm or a tome. I can't remember. It's like in the same realm of like Idler 7 and like Utapri, although both Utapri and Idlish are more rhythm games than Atome, but
yeah, I think this is more learning the interests of the guys and going down the path of which one you want to pursue, if I had to guess with my lack of experience. So yeah, it's Mappa. I'm down to try anything by them. And Enzo's number 3 pick is actually one from last season that got deferred over. This is Fujiko Keiji, Balance Unlimited, aka the Millionaire Detective, aka Twitter going nuts for the main character because he's a good looking fella. And I think he dug it. I don't remember all of his thoughts when he impressed it, but I think he was like, it's pretty darn good, but it's going to get canceled, so I'm not really going to pass or continue it. So maybe in this season, this might be its time to shine. So I think it looked pretty good. Mandi, you watched an episode or 2 of this?
Yeah, I watched the 2 that they released. I thought they were pretty good. They're all right. I wouldn't say I wasn't that excited for the rest of it, but I thought it was
compared to the show you're about to talk about. Look, probably a little better. Debatable.
I'm both excited and disappointed in this next one.
Well, lay it on us. But Fujiko Keiji, if you want to hear Enzo's thoughts on his impression, look at that back in the day.
He really wanted to pass it, but didn't because we're like, well, we don't know when it's going to come back because it was delayed. So I would expect this one probably just to get an auto pass because he was really wanting to pass it before.
There you go. There you go.
Guys, my next one. My next one is Monster Musume.
Fuck yeah.
No Oi Hasana.
Oh, baby, nurse me.
I was disappointed in this because I thought it was a new Monster Musume series. It's not. It's not related to Monster Musume.
What the fuck?
But my
No
culture.
way!
But the title just translates to Monster Girl Doctor. And I'm pretty sure that they're just trying to bank off of Monster Musume because all the characters look exactly the same. Not the same studio, not the same author, nothing. It's not related to it at all.
Turn your head and cough.
Yeah, this one is by Studio Arvo Animation, and it is a light novel adaptation. The director is Yoshiaki Iwasaki, who directed Love Hina. It is obviously a comedy ecchi.
God.
And the synopsis is, in the town of Lindworm, where monsters and humans coexist, Dr. Glenn runs an exemplary medical clinic for monster girls with his Lamia assistant, Safi. Whether receiving a marriage proposal by a centaur injured in battle, palpitating the injury of a mermaid, or suturing the delicate wounds of a flesh golem, Dr. Glenn performs his job with grace and confidence.
I got a flesh
But when-
golem.
When an unsavory character seeks to steal a harpy egg, how will the unflappable Dr. Glenn respond? They're all the exact same monsters from Monster Musume. What the heck, guys?
Oh yeah, they are. Come on.
I was so disappointed. I was like, oh, a second season of Monster Musume? It's not. It's a lie. And I'm disappointed. But the trailer... I don't know. The trailer, we'll see. I thought Monster Musume was kind of funny because it was just so trashy that it made me laugh, and it was pretty clever. But the thing, I will probably laugh at this if it's all like everyone's happy with the ecchi scenes. But if it's just constant sexual harassment with unwanted groping, I'm not gonna like it. So we'll see. If it's if everyone's on board and everyone's having good sexy times, I'll enjoy it and laugh.
They were definitely on board with the first Monster Musume. In fact,
I know.
they were the horniest monster girls I've ever
Everybody
seen.
was hoarding in that one, especially.
Oh my
What was
God.
the one girl with the giant horn? I can't remember what she was called. It wasn't a centaur. I can't remember what her name was.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. I'm up. Guys, this is where it gets real. I'm pretty sure this next show is going to be pretty badass. I'm excited. It's called Decadence. Title is dumb, but the anime does not look dumb. It's done by Studio Nut.
It's never not funny.
It's always
It's never
funny.
not funny.
Oh, it's always funny. Who did Tanya the Evil and a bunch of other stuff. Yuzuru Tachikawa's directing by who directed Death Parade. All right, check out this badass synopsis. Many years have passed since humanity was driven to the brink of extinction by the sudden emergence of an unknown life form called the Gadol. Those humans that survived now dwell in a 3,000 meter high mobile fortress called Decadence, built to protect themselves from the Gadol. Denizens of Decadence fall into two categories: gears, or aka warriors who fight the Gadol daily, and tankers, those without the skill to fight. One day, Natsume, a tanker girl who dreams of becoming a gear, meets surly Kaburagi, an armor repairman of Decadence. This chance meeting between the seemingly two opposites, the girl with a positive attitude who never gives up on her dreams and the realist who has given up on his, will eventually shake the future course of the world. And I watched the trailer, and I just gotta say, fucking epic. Like, post-apocalyptic, sci-fi, giant fortress, like Attack on Titan, like battle scenes with people zipping around and with like jetpacks and shit, fucking fighting big ass monsters. It just looks badass as hell. The fortress was done in like full CG, so it's not a CG anime, I don't think, but there's going to be some CG in it. I'm a little concerned that the studio, I don't know how good Studio Nut is. I mean, they haven't done like a lot, but I'm kind of concerned that they won't be able to produce enough quality animation to fit the bill with an anime that has this much
Ooh,
action
Tanya
in
the
it.
Evil looked pretty good sometimes, though.
Yeah, it had style to it.
Okay, well, it's gonna be on Funimation. Decadence. I'm super hyped for this anime. I think it looks fucking great. It's a sci-fi action show, so it just looks awesome. It had a scene of like two people sitting in like these swing things hanging off the side of the giant tower. You know, it almost reminds me of like Hollywood, if you've seen Now and Then Here and There, because this is a scene where they're like looking at like the sunrise hanging from like a rope I think the character was actually being tortured in that scene, but now and then here and there is pretty rough. Anyway, Decadence fucking looks badass. I mean, look at that fucking promo art. God,
That was also on my list because it looks really cool.
That's
All
a
right.
Trigger-esque looking promo art, though, with the Trigger star,
Oh, yeah.
aka any lens flare on Earth. But anyway.
All
So
right.
actually, my next one is actually very similar to Enzo's next one, but my number 2 pick is Gibiate, Gibiate, Gibiate.
Gibiate.
Gibiate. I'm not too sure. This is a Crunchyroll original show, so I'm assuming it's going to be on Crunchyroll. I picked it because it's an original work, and it's done by first full-time corrector Masahiko Komino, who did like animation direction on Stars Align, which was pretty good. So this is in 2030, a virus has infected humans throughout the world. Infected people turn into different forms of monsters. Those monsters and the virus that infects them is called Gibia, from the title. And the story follows a pair of samurai in 2030, mind you, fighting with the help of a doctor who tries to find a cure for this Gibia. So this is done by L.A. Lunchbox. I'm not sure how you're supposed to say it. I'm saying Lunchbox.
You're just hungry, man. Come on.
I'm always hungry. And Studio L. There was a PV and it looked like Berserk 2016 level monsters. And it had really bad CG in that. The animation did not look solid. The voices of what I did hear sounded like they were like really poorly produced. Like they were done over like a Discord call. Like they did not sound that great. And the trailer, like a lot of animation relies on like sound for its weight. When you see someone making contact with someone else, you kind of need that sound to give it that depth and punch and like impact. And all this stuff was happening in the trailer, but like none of the sound matched it. So like it looked even more stale and stiff. And maybe it will seem better produced when all of it comes together, but the initial PV did not seem that engaging. But it's original work. I tend to like experimenting with those, so we will see. And very similarly to my number 2 is Enzo's number 2, which is Ninja Collection.
Oh, God.
Which is done by ILCA, mainly known for doing the Yami Shibai, the Ghost Story collections. This is set also in a modern day Tokyo, where a group of ninjas will come to stop the spread of quote unquote darkness, which aka is just like my show where samurais are stopping a virus, and they will be using ancient techniques passed down through generations. There is no PV. There is, I don't think much staff on it yet. No characters or voice actors added, so a lot to be unknown. But Ninja Collection sounds cool. It sounds edgy. I mean,
dude, have you seen Yami Shiba? Because it's literally not animated. I mean,
it's
it's
average at best from what I've seen.
Average. Okay.
I'm not saying the animation, the show as a whole, like with the whole folklore and mythology. Like it's a stylistic thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I watched like 4 or 5 episodes of the last Yami Shiba, which is like the 7th one or whatever. It was not animated, but that doesn't mean this won't be. But
I believe it. And the PV or the cover of the show on Mal is just kind of 4 guys underneath the moon, and it just kind of doesn't look that refined. It looks just very basic. And this show could blow us out of the water with stuff out of nowhere. They're just not to know. So Ninja Collection, not a lot to go on, but
yeah, it's
what we got. So it's what it is.
It's what we got. Whoa.
I just found that Gibiate's, that's how you say it. It sounds like Italian or something.
Gibiate.
Gibiate. I found out that the OP for that one is by Yoshida Brothers, sorry, which is some good shamisen music, so that's exciting.
Okay.
So yeah, my last 2 I'm actually excited for. Like these 2 I actually wanted to watch.
Oh boy.
So, my next one is The God of High School.
Oh yeah.
Which is a manhwa adaptation. And it was originally on the webtoon server Naver, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, Naver Webtoon. And it was the first webtoon to receive an official English translation by Line. And that also released a mobile role-playing game in 2015. And this one's also produced by Crunchyroll, because they're getting into adapting a lot of the manhwas into anime, which is awesome, because now we can spread the manhwas to around the world and give them some popularity, and also see them in action. And Studio Mappa picked this one up. It's an action series, and I have not read this one. I read a tiny bit of Tower of God before that one started. This one I don't know anything about. But the synopsis is, it all began as a fighting tournament to seek out who is the best fighter among all high school students in Korea. Mori Jin, a taekwondo specialist and a high school student, soon learns that there is something much greater beneath the stage of the tournament. So the action scenes in the PV were actually pretty good. There is some really good choreography in there, so I was really excited for it. I'm not a big fan of the main character's star eyes. Like, he doesn't have pupils, he has like stars. Not a big fan of that. But overall, I think the character designs outside of that look really decent, and the I don't know, the animation just looks good from the tiny bit that I saw in the PV. I did hear some grumbling from people who have read the manhwa that it gets a little repetitive, and from what I can tell from the synopsis, is if this series is just a big tournament, I can definitely see why that is. But I don't know. I haven't read it, so I'm not sure. But the manhwa has some decent popularity. It's nowhere near the level that Tower of God was, but it currently has an 8 on Mao, and we'll see if that changes once this anime comes out and more people have access to it. We'll see.
Yeah, I kind of got a... Did you guys ever watch Real About High School, like back in the day?
Mm-mm.
It's basically like an anime where they're in a high school and all they do is fight each other, and it's like whoever can win the fights is like, the leader of the school or whatever. I kind of got I know nothing about this anime, but I kind of got that kind of a vibe from it. We'll see. All right. Well, we're on the final round now, which means we're on the stuff that's really, really, really exciting. And it's probably not all that shocking, but the anime that I chose as my number one pick is ReZero Season 2. I gotta find here's the thumbnail. ReSeason 02 is definitely the biggest anime of the season. I mean, for context, ReZero Season 1 had more people watched it than Attack on Titan Season 2, more people watched it than Attack on Titan Season 3, or the second half of Season 3. The more people watched it than Bleach, more people watched it than Kill la Kill, more people watched it than Fairy Tail, more people watched it than One Piece. So I think it was like the 20th most watched anime ever on Mao. So it's like, it was, let's just say popular. Starts on July 8th. And they've already got the second half. They're breaking this season into 2 halves. The second one's already slated for winter of 2021. You won't have to wait very long, which is kind of nice because, we've been waiting for this for fucking ever. I mean, ReZero Season 1 ended like in what, 2015 or some shit? So I'm going to check that right now. But, we waited forever for this damn anime. So ReZero Season 1 ended in the first part of 16. So we're waiting 4 fucking years. So I really hate that. It is getting like the Attack on Titan treatment, I would say. Studio White Fox is doing it. They did ReZero Season 1, Steins Gate, Akame ga Kill. They got a lot of good stuff in their catalog. There wasn't really a synopsis for Season 2 here, but I will kind of just glance through the synopsis for Season 1. Basically, this kid named Subaru is leaving a convenience store, and I believe he gets hit by a car. And Truck-kun kills him, and he gets isekai'd away. It's an isekai. And he gets taken to this world where he's just killed over and over again as he gets there. And every time he gets killed, he gets reincarnated at the point in which he first arrived in the world. So he can't really die. He just kind of starts over. And one day he's getting his ass beaten, and this chick named Satella, who's a fighter, she rescues him, and in order to thank her, he offers to help her search for this insignia that she lost, and it's just like this super crazy fantasy show. People know this because Rem and Rom, the pink and blue haired maid girls, are like, I don't know, probably the number one converted into hentai characters ever. I don't know, it's like everywhere, but they're like they're memed like everywhere. They're on Twitter. Most people know them. They may not know what they're from, but they know the characters just from seeing them everywhere. So the first season ended in like a really high note, like a lot of really intense fantasy and a lot of out of nowhere, like very violent and intense action was happening at the end of the first season, and then it just ended, which was very annoying. So I am going to rewatch maybe the second half of the first season again before I watch this. But ended definitely in a spot that left the viewer hanging. So, but it's nice to see that they are going to have 2 seasons, or at least 2 halves of the season coming out in very quickly. So you won't have to wait too long again. But it's pretty neat. ReZero season 2, and probably gonna have a good jillion people watching it again. So that's my number 1 pick. Pretty obvious.
Yeah, this is going to be talked about by everyone. And I feel like when we went to Japan, when we went to like Akihabara, like the figures of Rem and Ram were all over the place.
Oh, they're everywhere, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So. And there's like, it's just like, you can barely, for a while there, you couldn't go on Twitter without seeing like pictures of them. So I'm not really all that crazy about them because I just don't like maid girls, but apparently people do. So it's just not for me, but whatever.
Gotcha. So my number 1 show, which was not my number 1 pick, I will say, behind the curtains, when you roll a 3 out of 20, you don't deserve any good shows. So all the ones I wanted swiped away. I'm not salty about it though. I'm not salty because at the end of the day, we're gonna watch them all anyway. So the number 1 show on my list is Rent a Girlfriend, Kanajo Okari Shimasu, which I've actually been excited for a while now.
Yeah.
And I feel like of all the shows I've talked about today, this is the most proper, air quotes, or traditional adaptation on my list. Like, it's not based on a game or a spin-off or like CG. Like, this is based on a manga turned into an anime. Like, I feel like this is the most typical of what we normally see in the anime world. And it's done by TMS Entertainment, who did Fruits Basket and Dr. Stone. So 2 pretty solid shows in recent times. It's done by a director who this is his first full show, but he also did episode and unit directing on Fire Force and Just Because, which is Kazuomi Koga. And this is a story about a guy who was dumped by his girlfriend, and he became like emotionally shattered. And he's a college student, which is something I don't think we get enough of in anime, so that's a good sign. And essentially, his heart's broken, so he attempts to appease the void in his heart by going on his phone where you can have a rental girlfriend from a mobile app. So he meets this girl, and she's not quite how he first imagines. Things happen, shenanigans happen, circumstances happen, and essentially it forces them to act out this fake relationship where they must pretend to be dating. So it's every kind of like wish fulfillment fantasy for people who are into this sort of thing. I think that even though it's college age characters, I'm guessing it will be kind of juvenile in its presentation and jokes. I don't know. It could be fun. I was actually kind of turned onto this in 2019 because there's a YouTuber, I think Pablo from Tokyo, who has this series of day in the life of Japanese jobs, and it follows people like pachinko workers or delivery people or movers, and it's kind of interesting. And in one episode, he goes to a Japanese manga creator's place, kind of sees how he does things, how he works with his assistants and staff. And the person that he talked to is actually the mangaka of Rent a Girlfriend. So it was kind of cool seeing how this work was being made. And all of a sudden, 7-8 months later, we're getting the anime adaptation. So it's kind of cool. So it's kind of been a thing that I've had on my radar, and I've not read any of it. I have no idea what I'm getting into. This is not my usual kind of show, but could be cute, could be fun, could be weird or pervy, or who knows. But it's what I'll be watching. Number 1 for Enzo is the best show ever. This is Japan Sinks 2020. This is the Science Saru Masaki Yuasa show. This is actually coming out in full on Netflix on July 9th. So just over a week away. It's based on the 1973 disaster novel, also called Japan Sinks, where, it's a classic. A major earthquake hits Japan after the 2020 cough cough Olympics, and a family have to, escape the city and stay together, and the classic, destruction elements all come together. So, big emotional payoffs, big realistic but literally earth-shattering events taking place, and it's probably going to be weird and quirky, but still really human and emotional and great and amazing. And I look forward to talking about this as soon as it comes out. So that's Japan Sinks 2020.
I saw what Enzo did to you, and I wrote rude.
Yeah, like sometimes when we pick our list, if there's a show someone really wants, like Mandi, for example, when Vinland Saga was coming out, she put in big letters like, Vinland Saga is mine. Don't even think about it.
If you guys put it down as your number one, I was gonna delete all of the list.
Exactly. So some people strong arm. I thought there was some decency. I thought we were friends. I thought it was.
I didn't even put it on my list.
Oh no, Mandi was like, Japan Sinks. That's Mason's cup of tea. I'll let him have it. I'll just steal his number 2 pick. Whatever. No, that's a safe thing.
No,
but
that's
Enzo just comes
one.
waltzing in with no disdain. Just picks it, snipes it from my list. I roll a 3. Such is life. So
Mason, listen. I want you to note that none of your top 3 are on my list at all.
I know.
Not anywhere.
You also put yours in first. I also.
Hey, you know what?
My top 2 are both O and A's, so they're kind of hiding in the Mel list. So I figured you wouldn't see them. So I'm like, if I don't tell anyone about Great Pretender, which I watched last week and didn't talk about explicitly, so maybe you guys wouldn't find out about it, I could sneak in 2 winners.
As if I don't look at anything.
I tried to be sneaky. It was all in vain. Japan Sinks 2020. Mandi.
Tokyo Magnitude 8.0, the sequel.
Yeah, essentially.
So my number 1 is The Great Pretender, which was actually the one that I wanted to watch the most out of everything. It was one of the very few shows this season I was like, that looks cool as heck.
It looks so cool.
Yeah, Great Pretender. It is an original. It's being adapted by Wit Studio. 23 episodes total. This one, I'm pretty sure, is a lock-in for Netflix, is what I saw. I think Netflix released some of it as like an early showing of it. They also showed episode 1 at a screening at Anime Expo last year. So people have already showed a lot of support for this. They said it's what they have seen for the first few episodes is really good. So the director is Hiro Kaburagi, who also directed Kimi ni Toroke, Hozuki no Rutetsu, which is one of a show I absolutely love. But he was also storyboarded the Hunter x Hunter York New City OVA. So I was like, heck yes, guys, I'm excited. The art director is also Takaide Yusuke, who was the art director for Gankutsuo, the new Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Hozuki no Reitetsu, Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, Shirabako, and loads of other series that I like. So I'm very excited. But the synopsis for this one is: only bads or targets trick you, deceive you, cheat all fortunes of you. You can hear our stories in LA, Singapore, London, Shanghai, and Tokyo. Why? Our con games stage is the whole world. Edamaru Matsuto is supposedly Japan's greatest swindler. Together with his partner Kudo, they try to trick a Frenchman in Asuka to unexpectedly get tricked instead. The Frenchman who they tried to swindle turns out to be Laurent Thierry, a much higher level confidence man. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I apologize. But he is a higher level confidence man in control of the mafia. Edamura is yet to find out what fate awaits him after having engaged in the Frenchman's dirty jobs. The PV of this looks so good, and the art looks great. It's very, very colorful, very distinct aesthetic. Everything looks very playful. You can see how the art director for Hozuki no Reitetsu was on this project. I think it's going to be a little weird having 2 crime shows this season now, because since Millionaire Detective was pushed back. But I still have really high hopes for this one. I'm hoping the characters are just as playful and enjoyable as they seem in the PV, and that the scams that they pull off are intelligent enough to keep you interested. So I'm excited. We'll see.
Get hyped for some great English at the episode 1.
Yeah, I haven't seen episode 1 because when I tried to look it up, I was like, well, shoot, I took it off Netflix. And out of all of my shows, that one is on Netflix. I know God of High School is going to be Crunchyroll. As far as the other three, I have no idea. But
they haven't announced many things. So if you guys want to,
they release. Sorry.
If you guys want to run through your list really quick to summarize what we will be doing impressions on in a couple weeks.
All right, so I've got the Misfit of Demon King Academy, Fire Force Season 2, Dokyu Hentai HX Eros, Decadence, and ReZero Season 2. So
nice. I've got Rent a Girlfriend, Jibiate, Koito Producer, Umayan, and Yo Yao. Enzo has Japan Sinks 2020, Ninja Collection, Fujiko Keiji, Peter Grill, and the Philosopher, Time of the Philosopher, and Lapis Relights.
Mine are Great Pretender, The God of High School. The other ones you don't really have to know. Monster Musume no Ohihasana, which I think is just Monster Girl Doctor. Uzaki-chan wa Asobatai, and Cho Futsu Toshi Kashiwa Densetsu, whatever, I don't know.
Legend.
Sugoi Dekai, or something like that. And with that, those are our future impressions, and we will go into our second news break, and we have another trivia question for you from Drifting Dragons. What anatomical part of dragons allow them to fly, and why do the hunters not eat it? Bonus question, my co-host don't even know about this one. The ship, the seafaring, the airship thing that the people fly, is that a blimp or a zeppelin? And what's the difference? We'll let you know in just a couple minutes.
Anime Addicts, I'm back one more time. Mitsugi's here bringing you more anime news. Starting off with Attack on Titan, which so many of us love. Attack on Titan is collaborating with the 7 Deadly Sins to get a smartphone game. So that's Nanatsu no Taizai. So Hikari to Yami no Grand Cross, the 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross of Light and Darkness, the role-playing game for iOS. It's going to be coming out on June 29th. You can watch some clips from it on YouTube if you're interested. The trailer features characters from the 7 Deadly Sins anime franchise, as well as Titans and Levi himself. If you're a fan of all these properties, you might want to check out this cinematic adventure RPG when it comes out on June 29th and see if it's something that you might be interested in. Next up, the director of the film, Scott Pilgrim, hints that the series might be revisited in an anime form. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World director Edgar Wright told Entertainment Weekly on Tuesday that Brian Lee O'Malley's popular comic book might be revisited. There are some plans, quote, and there's nothing official yet, but there are some plans to revisit the material in an animated way. We've been talking with Brian and with Jared for a while about what if we did something with the books in anime form. It's being discussed as we speak. So for those of you that are fans of Scott Pilgrim's, I know there's a lot of you out there, and a lot of you obviously like anime, so you will have to watch out for that and see if they are lucky enough to decide that they want to do this in anime form and bring this to you so you can enjoy it that way as well. Next up, another smartphone game, One Punch Man Road to Hero 2.0 is getting a game on June 30th on iOS and Android. Players of the original One Punch Man Road to Hero smartphone game will be able to receive rewards in the second game in order to advance their progress a little quicker as a reward for playing the first game. So you'll be able to collect and train characters from the One Punch Man series and expand on the experiences from the original game. So I didn't play this game, but some of you probably did. If you're a fan of the One Punch Man Road to Hero game, it's getting a second installment, and you'll be able to enjoy that pretty soon. It's coming out, well, pretty much right about the time you're listening to this, so look out for that. And lastly, we have a little bit of a recap here on the best-selling video games in Japan from the week of June 15th to the 21st. And the list is just dominated by the Nintendo Switch, because of course it's Japan. And all except the top 10, all the top 10 games except number 1 are for the Switch. Number 5 being Harukan Naru Toki no Nakade 7. Ring Fit Adventure, Sekai no Asobi Taizen 51, Animal Crossing New Horizons hanging in there still at number 2 with a total now of almost 5 million copies sold in Japan. That's a wild amount. And then number 1 is The Last of Us Part 2, which is not all that shocking, with nearly 200,000 copies sold, which just kind of highlights how small of a video game market Japan is, because 200,000 copies wouldn't be shit in the United States, but in Japan it gets you to the top. Anyway, so that is your recap on video game sales for the week of June 15th to the 21st. This is Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break, and now, time to get back to the podcast. Anime Addicts, the AAA podcast, is always trying to bring you new and exciting ways to enjoy our content, and now we have an exclusive member-only RSS feed on the site that is going to let you access our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties episodes, all from your favorite mobile apps. That's an additional 8 episodes of content per month just for you, and you can listen to it through Apple Podcasts app, you can listen to it through Podcast Addicts, Pocket Cast, Overcast FM, Downcast FM, etc., onward and onward. So many mobile apps for you to choose from. If you were holding back on supporting the podcast because you didn't like listening to our extra content through our website, now you can get it and listen to it the same way you enjoy all your other podcasts. So pitch in, help out the podcast, do a good thing, and enjoy all the extra content we have for you. Just go to aaapodcast.com/join, and you will get all this extra content and an exclusive member RSS feed for you to enjoy. That's aaapodcast.com/join, and support the podcast.
この番組は JList.com の提供でお送りします。
Hey guys, welcome back. When we left you, we had an intro trivia question. In drifting dragons, what anatomical part of the dragons allows them to fly? And why do the hunters not eat it? It's their heart. Oh, so cute. And they don't eat it because it's too damn hard to eat it. Even though they seem to eat everything, I'll be honest, they don't eat the heart. So, all right, guys. Sorry I kept you waiting there on the news break. So,
No worries.
Now that we're back, we do have a 5-star review to read, so let's not delay. We'll jump right into that. And again, if you want to leave a 5-star review, that would really help right now to keep us at a full 5 out of 5 stars on iTunes, which we did dip below very briefly this weekend due to some mischief. So please help out. You can either click the 5-star rater, or you can write a full review on iTunes. Take a few seconds, help out the podcast, and we'll love you. So here we go.
It's time for iTunes review.
And this one comes from Not Sure If SRS1. Okay.
Not sure if serious.
Oh, if serious one.
SRS.
5 stars because Mitch said he'd love me. But honestly, I just love how interactive they are. That's the title of the review. But honestly, I just love how interactive they are with their community, quick responses to questions on the Discord, reading chats on the stream, inviting people on for mini games, watch parties all the time. 5 stars. The 5 stars isn't for the podcast, but for what you guys do as a whole. You guys are awesome and definitely have made my addiction worse. So thank you very much. That was a really nice one. I liked it. And the children, they are amused, and you can tell because they're screaming. So, All right, and now we have our mailbag, so let's jump right into that as well.
Spoilers are
And that's not the
coming.
right drop.
It's time
There
for
we
an almighty anime mailbag. Anime. Anime. Anime.
Mailbag.
So if you would like to leave a mailbag, go to our website at aaapodcast.com. There's a mailbag button there, and you can send in questions, and we'll answer them for you. This one is from Max Mackin. They say, "Hi, last time I sent a complicated email about feminism and stuff," which I remember. It was actually a really good question. So here's something lighter. If your life was a video game, what genre would it be? My submission for you guys. Mitz is a survival platformer about mountain climbing, which, yeah, basically he lives that.
Fuck yeah.
Mandi is an escape room puzzler about getting out of a room full of manga. True, I live that. And so is a life sim about making friends in the city. And Mason is a Tamagotchi virtual pet you need to feed the right food and keep lean and healthy. And also, you push the button to flush a toilet occasionally.
I'm not going to do it.
I love your submissions. I thought they were really cute when I was reading it. I was like, yeah, it's pretty spot on. It's really adorable. I said if my game was about my actual life and not what genre I would want to be, because if I wanted to be one, I would want to be some kind of high fantasy CRPG. Those are my favorite types of games. But if it was what about my actual life, it would be probably a time management game about consuming as much media as possible. Because that's what I live. And it would be needlessly complicated. So I said, think Off-World Trading Company, a game like that, except, watching anime, reading manga, and playing video games, because that's all I do in my life.
She's quite good at it. Time management to a T.
I have to budget some time for work,
Boo.
9 hours a day.
Boo.
Yeah, I have to imagine all our answers are going to be the same. What's my? It's a time management game. That's life. Just you put it in you put in those 8 hours a day to up your money stats. You put in the hour of gym time to up your physical stats. You put in your book reading time to up your intelligence stats. You try to get 8 hours of sleep. That never works because you end up putting 5 more hours into watching anime stats for no reason at all. But you feel bad for your character, so you let them do that. I don't know. That's what everyone's life is. But I love these submissions
Pretty much.
that you put in.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed me as well. I mean, my favorite genre is strategy RPGs, which don't really seem to be all that prevalent nowadays, but that mountain climbing platforming description does kind of scratch my Mega Man itch, so thumbs up. Good job. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was really cute and creative.
All right, next one's from Anime Now, who writes, "It has taken me a while to think of what I wanted to say. Arguably the most listenable podcast I've had since opening the podcast app." Well, thank you very much. "This podcast is like a mobile anime convention for me. Mandi is the nicest and most cheeriest commentator. Pope
I don't know
Mitsuki."
about that, but yay, thank you.
This whole season sucks. I hate anime.
I know, now I feel bad, but I love you. Thank you so much.
Pope Mitsuki is my favorite bald brother next to Dave Chappelle. Mason is a true Japanese food connoisseur. Enzo is the goat senpai. Keep making my anime addiction worse. Thank you. Thank you, my bald brother. So, appreciate you. Not much
all
of a
these
question.
people
there, so.
thinking I'm just all about food, and that's all I do. I do so many things. No, you're right. That's all I
Yes.
do.
Waiting.
I just eat food.
We all eat food. I just ate a bunch of ham. Just straight up ham. Because, hey, when you're counting macros, sometimes you got to eat things you wouldn't normally eat. So I just ate a bunch of ham. So fuck it.
Here's a secret for you. Did you know I'm half naked right now? You can't
No.
see it. I'll show it to you. Ready?
He has
You ready?
no shoes.
Ready? Oh, what's this? It's
I used
half
to drink
naked.
some of those. How'd they have
It's the
so much-
naked juice, but it's so sugary. And they
I was
have this
gonna
new
say.
thing that is called half naked. It has half the sugar, and it's all right.
Is
It's not
that
I
bad.
was gonna say I've had that stuff. The green one's really good, but
It is.
man, there's so much sugar in
You can feel your teeth decay as
I
you drink
know.
it.
It hurts.
Is that actually a product called Half Naked, or did you literally
the
cut it
juice
with
is
water?
the juice is called naked juice because it's all natural ingredients and it's pure or whatever. But so they call it half naked because it's half the sugar content. So I am half naked. welcome. That's why you need to be on the live Twitch
It
to
always
see this.
looks really gross being super green, but it actually tastes more like apple juice than anything because there's so many apples in it.
Yeah, there's a side note is that like people think fruit is like super healthy for you.
It's not.
It's not really that healthy for you, so just caution. Drinking 80 grams of sugar is not really good for your pancreas. But all right, moving on to drifting dragons. All right, let's do it. I want to eat some dragon meat. Rawr.
Yes, indeed. So this is drifting dragons, aka Kuutei dragons, which actually translate to airborne dragons versus drifting. But I don't know if that's
dragons.
yeah. This is over on Netflix. I passed this on episode 510, and it is a winter anime. This show is about a world where dragons exist. They're in the skies, and they sometimes are a threat to humans on the surface.
And they taste like chicken.
Parts of them certainly do. And so there is a contingent of dragon hunters out there who not only hunt dragons to protect them or to protect society from what damage they might cause, but they're a source of all sorts of food, medicine, oil. Like their bodies are put to lots of uses. So it's kind of inherent to this world and how it runs. And it follows a dragon hunting ship, the Queen Zaza, which is a zeppelin, not a blimp, because it holds its frame even when it's not full of gas. And it's about its crew. And that's what the show is about. It's done by Polygon Pictures, who did Ajin and Knights of Sidonia, which we mentioned earlier. It's directed by Tadahiro Yoshihira, who was an assistant director on the Blame movie. And we should probably talk about our expectations going into it. Mandi, I think you had the most foresight going in. So what were your thoughts?
Oh yeah, because I did this for a manga minute, not too long before winter season. I can't remember. It was sometime last year. But yeah, I've been following this manga series. I have these are kind of heavy. I have all 4 books that have released in English so far. Yeah, so I really like this manga series because it kind of gives me the same feel as Dungeon Meshi, which is just like a fantasy, like hunting and cooking show, or a series, not show, manga. And it actually has some pretty decent art, but I was skeptical about the anime because when reading this book, I was thinking this is not something that needs an anime. It's like a very laid back, like I'm gonna read it occasionally every now and then because it has like pages of like fantasy recipes, kind of like Dungeon Meshi does. But even these kind of recipes, like it has like, dragon hide and stuff in there, but you could replace them for other like meat that actually exists, like venison or beef and stuff. I could see these recipes actually working. Like they look actually really good. But yeah, there's not a ton of action in the series though, a little bit, but it's not like we're going on a grand monster hunter kind of a hunt where epic, like people are dying left or right or anything like that. So I was thinking, I don't know if this needs an anime, but when I saw the PV for it, I didn't like the CG in the PV. I was like pretty negative on it. So I had very low expectations going in. But I was still curious. Sorry.
Dungeon Meshi anime win. Come on, people.
They did an OVA, which is like 1 episode or something like that, like a little special just to promote the manga, I think.
Yep.
But man, I love Dungeon Meshi so much. It's
similar.
one of my favorite series.
Mitz, did you know anything coming into this show?
I sure didn't.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I obviously didn't read as much of this as Mandi did, but when she talked about it on her psychic segment, I was like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. I'm kind of into that Dungeon Meshi feel. I like the food aspects of things, and I went on to read a couple chapters of it before watching, and it's really well drawn, and also the CG was at first pretty alarming. I'll echo the statements that if you hear me up here saying like, oh, this is a show where they go around hunting dragons, it's really not about that. It's about the characters on the ship who occasionally hunt dragons, and it's more about if you're in for that kind of story is what I would think. So spoiler-free recommendations. Mandi, give it a go.
I'd say it's all right. I think I prefer the manga over the anime just because, I don't know, I was like, I don't really think this needs an anime. But I think because I went in with such low expectations, I walked away thinking, yeah, it was all right. It was pretty decent. It wasn't like, something like the best thing that I've ever seen. I wasn't super hyped on it, but I was like, it was all right. It was decent. I did see, man, I did see a lot of controversy saying that it is whaling propaganda. I can kind of see where you're coming from because the dragons don't look like either Eastern or Western dragons. They do kind of look like whales. I don't know if I agree with propaganda because when I was watching it and reading this, I never thought to myself, I'm going to go vote pro whaling or anything like that. They are still dragons. I don't know. Maybe that'll be controversial of me to say, is that I still just see it as just a fantasy hunting series. But yeah, I don't know. It's all right. It's decent. I think maybe try an episode or two, see what you think. I didn't think the CG was nearly as bad as I was expecting it to be. Maybe that was because I had low expectations, but after watching it, I was like, that's actually, pretty decent. It's not the best CG that I've seen, but it wasn't so bad that I couldn't watch it. I mean, it was all right. It's pretty decent. So I would give it a tentative yay.
Mandi over here defending whaling just because Ohio's the second biggest whaling capital after Kansas. I'm joking. There's no whaling.
Like, I need to do more research into whaling. I don't have strong opinions on it because my gut instinct is to say is that from what I do know of it, it seems pretty barbaric. But I also come from a family of bow hunters, so I can't really talk.
That's the power of pessimism. I told you earlier, coming in with low expectations can sometimes yield mad results. So there we go. Mitz, lay it on us.
I hadn't really heard that comment about whaling. I think it's kind of seems like a pretty big stretch. I think people this is where I get in trouble, but I think people just kind of look for things to complain about sometimes. Like, we hunt every animal on Earth, basically, for some reason or another, and sometimes it's wrong, but this is a fantasy anime about dragons. It's not whaling, so... and there's also no skin in the game for whaling. Like, who's gonna make whaling propaganda? That makes no sense at all. So now that I've said that, I would probably recommend this anime, but it does lack a compelling conflict. Mm-hmm. So there's not really a conflict that drives this story. So it is an engaging anime. It does have pretty good pacing. There's a lot of good action in it. There are tense moments. And I think the CG looks, let's be honest, Polygon Pictures does it about as good as anybody. I thought it looked pretty damn good, actually. But it does lack a compelling conflict. Like, it isn't like they're not hunting for the great, some big great dragon, or they're not trying to get to some place. They're just kind of meandering around doing stuff. So if you need a compelling conflict, it might not be the most interesting show, and there are probably action shows that are a little more just as interesting and just as fun while having that conflict. But I certainly thought it was an easy watch, and I could probably recommend this to people that like fantasy shows and are into action. So... And food, fuck. This anime is so full of good-looking food. It's stupid.
Dude, the food looks so good.
God, it's so
I
dumb.
stop watching because I was like, God, I'm so hungry. I gotta stop.
It's like Ghibli-level food in this. So, yeah, I mean, it's not the most recommendable show ever, but I would say it's more recommendable than a lot of stuff. So, yes, I would recommend it.
The classic meme, find someone who looks at you the same way Mika looks at food. That's what you need.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there's a lot of reasons that I think someone wouldn't enjoy this show. I think the visuals take a little bit of getting used to. I think Polygon Pictures is pretty good. I would say they're probably second fiddle to Studio Orange in the CG game. But so it still looks good overall, especially all the cloud and sky shots. The lighting effects, so good. There's kind of an episodic nature to this. It's a very relaxed pace. And I feel like this would be very low on the list of introducing someone to anime. You wouldn't show a first-time anime watcher this as a representation of the genre, but overall I was absolutely charmed by this show. The music was phenomenal, the physical comedy was great, and most importantly, the literal crew of characters, all the people on the ship, really came together. And maybe it's just because I really like flight, I really like food, maybe I like just shows that are unique, and this show definitely had that. this show was like really comfy for me. If your favorite part of Castle in the Sky was when the main characters joined Dola and her like air pirates, like if that was your favorite part, give the show a shot. Like it's got that dungeon meshy vibe, it's got the food, give it a shot for that. For most people, it might be a little outside the strike zone, but if you're okay with a little bit of CG that will grow on you, give it a shot. Recommend it. At least after an episode or two, you'll know if it's for you or not. It won't take lots of episodes for it to stick. So, and with that, I think we can go into spoilers, unless you guys have any last comments.
Not a whole lot.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god!
Oh my god.
The first thing I want to say, which I thought was really interesting after having read the manga, is that the entire 12-episode series is just 3 books. Just these 3. This covers the entire series, which is odd because
what is the 4th book?
It's after the anime.
It's afterwards, okay.
But like this whole book covers the dragon that the other hunters failed to kill, like the poisoned one that rose up again and started destroying the city. That's in this entire book, and this entire book is the one with the traveling dragons and the girl who gets pushed off the ship and then finds a baby. That's his entire book. So, and this one is everything else. Everything else is just one chapter in this one.
Well,
So it was really weird to see this as an anime.
Well, there's still much more out there than what has been released in English. So there's like 45 chapters that have been released. And over the 12 episodes that this show was, it only really covers about 15 chapters.
I think he froze.
So there's a lot more material out there. Oh no, I'm dead. I'm alive. We'll see. You heard it fine on the recording. Twitch people, deal with it.
Oh shit!
So there's definitely more out there for more seasons.
Spicy boy.
Well, anyway, so I don't know. I would definitely watch more when this comes out, but as feels the plot goes, there's not a whole lot of plot to it. I think It does a great job of incorporating why dragons are important to the world, how their oil's used for lanterns and cookings, the meat for eating, but like the healing properties, the bones for like crafting arts and like products. Like in this world, dragons no longer like guard mythical treasures. Like they are themselves, their skin and bones, the treasure that people go after. And I think the most quote unquote plot is that the ship is kind of like unlicensed, so they have a bad reputation where they go. So like they're not really welcomed by towns, and that kind of breeds an animosity between them and the people on the land. But I think that's enough of just kind of the compelling force of why they act the way they do.
Well, it's kind of nice that in the anime they do like go into how many different things they use from the dragons. Like it does sound like they use pretty much every piece of them, and it sounds like it's played off as sort of a. They do mention other types of meat and whatnot, but they do mention it as like an essential part of human life. Like they do seem to depend on the dragons for food, for oil, for everything. And so like other than like the heart that we mentioned in the trivia question and maybe a couple other small things, they pretty much consume everything. And it's kind of nice that, you know, it would be a lot. I would feel less happy about it if they were just like killing these dragons and then just like hanging them up by a tree somewhere for, you know, decorations. But they're using all the pieces, and it is interesting to like see how much they appreciate everything that comes from them. And Mika, the main character, who's like mildly crazy. He just, man, he loves fucking food so much. He would die for a steak sandwich. I mean, he really would. And watching them come up with like all these conversations about, this is a food anime. It's like Food Wars. I mean, like they even have food in the title of like half the episodes, and it's like watching them talk about how all these techniques for steaming the meat and how you roll it in this thing and it keeps the moisture in, and and as Mason would say, ooh, so good. And it was so good. And I don't know. It was just fun like watching them eat, and it made me hungry. And Mika, I liked this anime off the bat because the pacing is so great. So like in the first 6 episodes, every episode something tense happens. Like on the first episode, they're hunting the dragon, and Mika slides down like the tow cable onto the dragon's back and stabs it with the bomb lance and kills it. and that's really tense. There's a scene where like a dragon is screaming at them, and like the vibrations from its scream like make their ears bleed and shit, and it's intense. And the scenes where like a big dragon that they thought was dead wakes up and starts attacking the town. Like pretty much every episode has something very tense happening, and I really enjoyed like it made the anime flow really well, and there was like almost no time to be bored with it because it just keeps doing something interesting. And so I don't know. When I say it had good pacing, that's kind of what I mean. Like it kept bringing something new to you, and it was enjoyable even though there wasn't much of a plot line. So
and
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but my dad is a bow hunter, and I grew up around that all my life. So I still have a freezer full of deer meat. But yeah, I think what I thought was really nice and interesting, like Mitch said, that this is not about trophy hunting, because I don't like or support trophy hunting. They use everything, and they actually show the dragons quite a lot of respect too. When they go to different towns, they use the leather for different artworks, and there are some times when they pray for the kill. And yeah, I was really surprised by how much they showed respect to the dragons that they're hunting. And I also thought it was interesting that they stressed how important it is not to let the dragons suffer. Like that was a big part about me, because he'd always risk his life to make sure that it was like he was able to get in there and make a very clean kill. But he also mentions once that if the dragon suffers, it actually hurts the meat taste, which is true.
Right. Yeah,
It's true in hunting, is that I know this from my life. So sorry if it sounds creepy. This is just what I grew up with, is that if you are not able to hit in the right place, that their blood is rushed with adrenaline, and it absolutely changes the meat taste to a very awful one. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if they did a ton of research into hunting. It just seems like a fantasy series to me. But yeah, I thought those were kind of interesting. And it also reminded me a lot of Monster Hunter. After every episode, I was like, I want to go home and play Monster Hunter. They had, like you said, bomb lances and everything. I was it's just straight up Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if this came out around the same time as Monster Hunter World. I'm curious of that. I need to look at the dates. I was like, I think I see somebody's favorite game coming out.
Well, OG Monster Hunter would have been long before this.
Yeah, but I think I could be wrong. Let me see. Kuutei Dragons came out around sorry, that is not the manga. That is the anime. The manga came out in 2016. When did Monster Hunter World come out? I'm just curious. Not that the mangaka would have had, time to actually work on it.
Well, I'm saying he could have seen the
after.
earlier Monster Hunter games, though.
2017.
Yeah.
True. And Monster Hunter is so popular in Japan. Very popular.
Yeah.
The Seiyu have like an entire guild. I hear them talk about it a lot on talk shows. But that's what it reminded me of. Like, because I'm still playing World, and I've talked about it recently, and I was like, every episode, I want to go home and play the game.
I would add to Mandy's comments about the hunting and stuff, is that like later on in the show too, there's a lot of like empathy, and the main character Takita, she has like such a respect for dragons and being like in the sky that she even like risks her life to save a baby dragon like later, and does some rather reckless things to accomplish that. So like they're not just like ruthlessly killing, it's like there's actually like I guess like a mutual respect, but like there's also like this like fondness and empathy and love for the dragons too. So it's kind of and they never really speak about them in an ill way. It's mostly that one looks really good. Well, I was gonna say, look,
Mika's so weird.
He's like, I'm smelling something in the wind. Oh, look, a dragon. Like that's more like that.
So weird.
Yeah. So
Well, before jumping on to the characters, and especially Takita, who is like the audience stand-in, who's kind of learning about what it means to be a hunter, what it means to be a draker, and like come to terms with what they're doing. I thought this although it had dragons, this didn't feel like a fantasy show. Like all the fights with them were very believable. Like their sense of teamwork was a strong point. Like they have all these very realistic like safety wires, and they have these training mechanisms and mechanics, and this all felt like very grounded, not literally, but just like the world felt very possible. And it was just that it also had these very cool dragons, which I thought were really well designed and varied and made things interesting. So like, but it gets into like, these people on the ship, they have to worry about their finances, about taking time off on vacations, like seniority, like the whole like business aspect, in addition to the teamwork, made everything feel like, yeah, I could see this being like an actual thriving world. So I thought that was the main point. But I think the biggest strength and talking point of the show is the characters. I thought the voice acting was really good. All of them are crew members who live in a ship together, so you can tell they're very like friendly. Like it's not this obtuse, like overly formal dialogue. They're all just kind of like confident, and like they're not whiners, they're not jerks, they're not like annoying. They're just kind of like people trying their best and cooperating like a family. And I think it made none of the characters like annoying or grating to listen to. They were just a good team. You had Miko, which we talked about, the guy who loves food, Takita, the audience stand-in. You had Vanabelle, the waifu.
Favorite character.
Yeah, she was great. She, in the ending song of the show, she has this little, like the smallest dance where she just taps her foot, and it's adorable. And you have all these other characters, this huge supporting crew who have little talents and thoughts, and you don't get like deep screen time, but I was hooked with all of them.
Yeah, there are some crew members I was like, I could do out without them, like, but they were like on the side. I think, yeah, overall, I really liked Vanabelle a whole lot. I think she had a really interesting conflict as well, where she was trying to decide, why is she doing this? She's not having fun with it, and then just realizes that she doesn't like to be on land. She feels like the sky is her home, and that's why she does it. And but I really liked all the episode with her just having this internal dialogue with herself, trying to figure out why is she in this job and debating if she wants to still do it. I'm happy that we had her, because Mika has no conflict whatsoever. He is just, I want to eat, and his conflict is he doesn't have enough food.
He has a conflict when the meat is poisoned and he can't eat it. He has to wait.
My God.
That was the big conflict.
For an entire 5 minutes.
He has to wait like 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The poison dragon that they take down, the guy's like, oh yeah, you can eat the poison meat. We can get the poison out. They take it down. It's like, yeah, you can eat it in 3 years.
Yeah.
He's like, no, falls to the ground crying. What a whiner. I love him.
Yeah.
I liked the one girl, the blonde girl that popped up for a couple episodes. What was her name?
The one at the end, or the one with like the choker?
The one in the middle that other than
That's
Takita.
probably Vanabelle, the one who like they found like the drawing of. Blonde hair.
Other than Takita, no, it's the girl that was like working at the inn, and there was like a love story in the middle.
Kaja or something like that.
Katja, yeah, Katja.
Katja, who was in like a semi-relationship with like Gerard, I think.
Yeah, she was super cute, and I thought that their relationship was like super cute. And I was actually surprised that like she didn't go with him, but because like
I was surprised at that too.
It was like this believable, like usually when like two characters meet and they like fall in love like within an episode, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, but like I actually kind of believe there's a little more. Like they were obviously in love with each other, but at least I feel like they were. But they had like a really cute, great relationship there for like 2 episodes, and I was really shocked that she didn't join them on the ship. Because I thought that she was just gonna, because he did ask her, didn't he? And then
he offered.
The fact that she didn't, I was like, oh, that's kind of
I
was really shocked by that, and he settles for like a haircut basically.
I thought that was weird too, and kind of disappointing, because I thought, she'll join and become a Draker like the rest of them. And I was really disappointed that she didn't.
Yeah,
they were kids.
And she was so cute. She was mad cute. So yeah, I was all in on Katja. She was waifu stuff. So
any other characters before moving to art/animation?
I mean, I like the hunter girl that pops up at the end. She was pretty neat. You know?
Oh yeah, she was awesome too.
You don't get to see a lot of her, but she comes and goes like the wind. But she was pretty neat. I liked her a lot. And she
you got the feel that they kind of traveled around a lot with their donkey.
Yeah,
she was very knowledgeable about like the land, and yeah, I liked her a lot.
She saved our dear Takita also. So.
And Takita was a great main character, I would say.
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah, I liked her a lot.
She was peppy. She tried hard, and she kind of did a good job of like bringing us into this world without being too dumb, where everything had to be spelled out for her.
Yeah, that's
right. And we also get a tiny bit of conflict with her too, where everyone's like, "Is she gonna quit? She seems kind of depressed." So we find out, nope, she's just hungry.
It's about it for characters, you know. It had a fairly good cast of characters, but only a few of them were like, you know, extra noteworthy, I would say. So.
Okay. Sure, but for 12 episodes, I thought they did a great job. Of choosing what to focus on.
I can't disagree.
As far as the art and animation, I think we all kind of agree it didn't pop out right away as like, wow, this looks phenomenal. There was kind of not much weight to a lot of the movement. It seemed kind of floaty and kind of how characters moved around. It didn't really use like CG in a way that a lot of CG is used, where they use like weird like camera spins and stuff like that. They used it in the OP, but not too much in the show. I think the thing that looked the worst was Mika's like facial hair, where they kind of just have like straight flat lines, which is supposed to be like a kind of scruffy beard, and everyone's hair kind of had like a rubbery component where they would move and their hair would move, but kind of like wobble back into place. Kind of like a Duplo looking thing where it was kind of plasticky, but overall the art didn't take away at all from the story it was telling. And like I said earlier, the lighting effects, especially on the clouds, every shot we got of the Queen Zaza when it was just going around, or we got like a graceful shot of a dragon, looked amazing. And even though some of the movement was stiff, the comedy worked really well. Like there's a moment where Mika like is holding a scared pirate and he's threatening him, and he goes to headbutt him, and he slowly like moves his head back.
That was pretty funny.
You can see the guy's face like, no, don't do it. And he like starts shaking his head, and he smacks him. Like, it works well. There's a scene where they're like peeping on a guy drawing, and they're like spying, and they like pull themselves out over the beds, and you can see them all like go in different tandems. And there was a lot of those comedy moments just worked well. So I ended up liking the animation.
I thought it looked.
I do think. Oh, sorry.
I thought it looked good. I'm so used to seeing these anime where nothing friggin' moves. Like, you know, I'll be like, oh, a lip flap with a classroom of 60 people behind them, and then like everyone's just frozen in place, and I'm like, oh well, they don't, you know, it's barely not animated at all. I don't know. It's just like it seems like maybe CG in general, but this anime definitely. Just speaking about this in a bubble, I appreciate how smoothly things move, you know. And maybe that's just CG in general, like I said, but like when they're on their hands and knees, when there was like that like throwaway moment thing where they're like someone drew the one girl, Vanabelle or whatever, somebody drew her on, and they're all like out scrubbing the deck, and they're apologizing, and like they're on their hands and knees and they're scrubbing, and there's like 8 of them in a line, and they're all moving like perfectly fluidly, all of them are moving, and I'm like, oh, look at that, they actually like something actually moving, because like, you know, anime is great, but like it doesn't always move well, you know, and unlike something like Kingdom, which I was watching recently, and it's CG and it looks just horrendous, I always thought this anime looked pretty good. Like I was never deterred by its movement. Everything's smooth. It doesn't look like obvious CG. Like you can tell it is, but like it doesn't, you know, you wouldn't look at it and go, oh my god, like this looks like some shit. So, I mean, I don't know if it's the best CG I've seen, but it does seem like Polygon Pictures has gradually improved since the original Knights of Sidonia. So it's like it might even be a little better than Ajin. I'd have to go watch Ajin again, but I don't know.
I remember liking Ajin's a little bit more, but I think that's just because it had a darker tone. It kind of allowed them to hide some of the flaws, whereas this was so bright, so clear that it maybe made it look a little more cartoonish. I'm not too sure.
Anime like this make me a lot less scared of watching CG anime. That's all I'll say. It's proven that it can look really well. It can look really good. So, Mandi?
I was going to say also, I think some of the dragons look really stiff too. Particularly the one in the city that looks slightly more like your typical dragon that you see, like in Western media, a little bit more. I don't know, the way it moved, it felt really stiff, kind of like more like an animatronic.
Yeah,
sort
I
of.
think being on the ground didn't help it.
Yeah, definitely not. Some of the other ones looked all right. They do look more like big blobs than they do dragons, but of
I
course,
like the blobs.
do you like the blob dragons?
I like the blobs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm used to Monster Hunter too, where you occasionally get an elder dragon that looks like a unicorn. So, it works, I guess.
And I'll be winners. I actually thought that the dragon fight in the city in episode 8 was probably like the weakest part of the show
Yeah,
for me.
agreed.
I'd stay up in the sky. That was how I thought.
Yeah.
Final thing I want to bring up really quick was the music. I thought it was spectacular. It was so soaring. It was so triumphant. It was relaxing. It was grateful. Like it fit the tone. They had a lot of like era appropriate instrumentation. It was good. It's done by Masaharu Yokoyama, who did similar work with like Iron Blooded Orphans and Astro Lost in Space. I thought that was really good. I thought the opening song was like really light and airy and kind of represented the show well. I just wish as the show progressed that they kind of changed the visuals. Like when Gerard got that haircut, I wish like the OP he had the new haircut. Like I love when that happens. So I was hoping for that. But I don't have any more comments. Do you guys have any closing thoughts or final scores?
Other than the OP was good too. I like the OP.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Gunjo was the name of the song.
I don't have a lot more to say about it. It's just a fun like fantasy show with lots of food. I will say one more thing I want to mention. The dragons, other than the dragon in the city, they came off as very willing to be killed, I would say. Like there were times when I was like, man, that dragon didn't put up a fight at all. He just like shot him with the tow cable, slid down him and blew him up and it was over, Yeah,
that was a little disappointing too.
Some of them fought back, but most of them were just like, I'm just here to die. I don't know. They didn't really fight.
Though, where you're kind of like felt bad for him you're like, I sympathize with these big old creatures.
I don't have a lot else to say. I can score it.
Let's score it then.
I thought Drifting Dragons was a pleasant surprise. Like I said, I thought I would have preferred a more constant like conflict throughout. I certainly don't think they would have had a hard time having one, but there just really wasn't, which it makes the plot line a little uninteresting when there's not like a conflict to drive it. But I mean, it was, I thought, a well-made anime, and it was fun and enjoyable and an easy watch. You didn't have to. I watched it dubbed. The dubbing was perfectly fine, as it seems to generally be on Netflix. And not perfect, but I enjoyed the show, generally speaking. And I was surprised it has a fairly not great score on Mao. I was like, does it really deserve a 7? I was like, I don't know, maybe it does. I'm not sure, but I liked it a little better than that. I will give it 4 dragon steaks out of 5.
Cool. Why don't you go, Mason? Because I'm
Sure,
debating.
I actually completely remembered that I forgot to think of a clever name for my scoring system.
Well, I certainly didn't have one.
I thought this captured the manga very well. I don't think I'd recommend it over the manga, but I think paired with the soundtrack from the show, I think that's a great reading experience. That's why I'm like, if they made more of this, I would certainly watch it. But I think because it didn't get a whole lot of viewers, I think it kind of ended on a nice place. Like, I don't need any more of this show. I think as long as the manga continues, I'd be happy with that. I kind of flopped between a 3 or a 3.5. I feel like at the end of the day, as much as I enjoyed this and it was nice and easy to digest, much like the dragons, I can't give this like a crazy strong thing. I don't think the themes really will stick with me, and I'm just like, oh, that was a real nice show, and kind of leave it at that. So I'm gonna go with a very strong 3 dragon hearts out of 5. Wow, that was
okay.
bad.
Womp womp.
Man, that was depressing. I'll see if I can think of anything.
You're
I was
fine.
counting on her review to think about things, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I thought it was all right. I definitely recommend the manga over the anime. man, I still was like, man, I don't really know why this needs an anime. But yeah, it was all right. I think we didn't really talk about it, but I also really loved the episodes at the end with Takita kind of having a like wrestling with herself and whether or not what she's doing is wrong when she meets the baby dragon, and she's struggling with it and kind of comes to the conclusion that they kind of just exist together in this world, and it's all right as long as you respect the life that dragons have. And I thought that was really cool. I think if you are strongly against hunting in general, then you're definitely not going to want to watch this. It's definitely not going to be for you. If you can't like divorce the idea of the like whaling comparisons to it as well, you definitely probably shouldn't watch this. I think I definitely did. I didn't even think about that at the time when I was watching
Me
it.
neither.
I didn't even know about it, so I looked up what other people were saying. I was like, oh, I didn't even catch on to that at all. Probably because I don't know. Maybe I had Monster Hunter on my brain, but it's all right. And I think I was kind of bouncing around the same ballpark that Mason was score wise, and that's why I wanted to hear what he said first, to really decide what I want to give it. I'll give it 3 baby balloon dragons.
Yeah, that was a weird friggin' dragon.
That last one looked like a little balloon, kind of like with a string.
It's like a head with a spine sticking out of him. It's like,
yeah,
what?
it was really weird.
What are you? You're super cute. You're super cute.
He was a cutie.
When she's stuck him back in the strange like pink like purple ooze bubble thing, and he was like trying to nuzzle back to her. I was like, oh my fucking god, you're regretting this now, aren't you, Takita? Should have taken that fucking dragon with you. Yeah, that's right. You go back and you get that dragon.
With Mika sitting around salivating over it.
It's just a head, though. How good could it be? It's just a head.
He was looking at that thing.
He was like, what a snack. Look at that.
I mean, last comment. I feel like that whole ending 2-episode thing of Takita like by herself, abandoned, the ships have to look for her. She finds this like baby dragon. Like that could have been so much more heavy-handed, really slowed down the whole thing. And I thought it was handled really well. And I was kind of pleased with how it was executed. So I thought it was well done. And if you want more, read the manga. What did our listeners think? All few of them.
All 3 of them. Guys, no one watched this.
People watched this dang show. It was actually pretty. I think it's a better show than what a 3 rating is, but I think it's just a little bit niche. So give it a chance.
Yeah, we had 3 total votes, which averaged out to a 3. We had 2 4s and a 1. Someone really did not like it, which it happens.
I understand. And with that, that was episode, as I scroll to the top of the document to check to make sure it is indeed the 530th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. We hope you had a great time. Hopefully you're as enthusiastic about the next season of anime as we are. We have a lot of interesting shows that we will be talking about in a couple of weeks. We have more shows to review, so stay tuned for all of that. Don't forget to go to aapodcast.com for all of the links, for all of your needs, 5-star reviews, all that good stuff. You can find us on Twitter actually now. Where can people find you, Mitz?
I'm at Pope Mitsugi. I have been trying to not spend as much time on Twitter lately. But you can find me on there at Pope Mitsugi. So.
And Mandi?
I'm at AAA_Mandi with an I. I still need to change that name. It's so dumb. I'm looking around. Every time I try to put a name, someone's already taken it. So I'm working on it.
It's a conspiracy. They're taking all the Mandi names.
Like even my D&D name that I've been using for years was taken. I was like, what? Seriously? But yeah. You can come follow me and look at all the video game and ferrets and Hunter stuff that I share.
And you can find me, now that I'm a thing, over there, Macy Pacey, and we can hang out. Most importantly, join Discord, and we'll see you over there. Thanks for joining, everyone. As always, we ran long, but I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.